Hi, I'm Austin. I play Dakren on DM Quest. Unfortunately, the 3 episodes before this episode were lost due to a weird audio technical issue that we have no idea what had happened, but we caught it too late as I am uploading these a couple years after they originally were recorded. So as a recap of what happened, here's what went on. The group finished their tasks at the Tavern That Never Sleeps, fighting a bunch of creatures and securing some interesting dream items that were related to their pasts that they dreamed about. Jasper got an arcane book, Hargis received an Estok sword, and Dakren received a magical orchid. And they were offered great rewards for these items by the innkeeper, as it seems that the whole reason he imprisons people in the Tavern That Never Sleeps is to secure these items from them that he can't get otherwise. But all 3 of them refused and were able to wake up out of the dream world of the Tavern That Never Sleeps and go on their way. They each also got a magical mug from the tavern that could produce any drink that they've received previously, or a healing draft once per day, I think. I never ended up using mine as Dakren, so I can't really remember. Anyway, only Hargis remembered their time in the Tavern That Never Sleeps. The others thought that it was just a fleeting dream. The group made their way to Volkstad and were able to enter. There was like kind of a complex renown system that Dustin, the DM, set up based on what class you were, and there was some sort of like gem that determined what your class was, and you could gain renown and favor in that social class and climb up the ladder that way. But it ended up not working, so it's never really mentioned again in the game. In Volkstad, we went to an underworld sort of area where there was a crime underground and fight clubs, that sort of thing. Dakren fought in a underground coliseum fight. He fought against a bandit who ended up summoning a fire elemental. But the fire elemental stone he used was cursed, and what it actually did was just switch places with him and a fire elemental on the elemental plane of fire. Dakren had recently purchased a earth elemental stone that he broke open and was able to fight the fire elemental and make it out, although he suffered some burns afterwards. After the fire elemental died, the bandit re-teleported in and was burned to a crisp. It's a shame that that part was cut out because there were these really funny pixie bouncers that Dustin had, and they were really funny. Both Jasper and Hargis tried to help Dakren in the fight using magic, and they were caught and were interrogated by the pixies, and it ended up costing them a lot of money because Seere, the tiefling member of the Valiant Allies who had escorted them, was the one who took them there in the first place and vouched for them, so it cost her a lot of money to bail them out. Just before leaving the Colosseum, Jasper noticed in an underground manor that some forest gnomes were being held captive, seemingly as slaves. He did a little bit of espionage to try and figure out if the gnomes were for sale or if he could bail them out, and it turned out there was a Duergar disguised as a dwarf who seemed to have been collecting them for an unknown purpose. Jasper vowed to return and free them when he could. They returned to the surface in Volkstad and made their way through the city to some lava rivers that went all the way through the mountain to the town of Jordsgarden. They met a young brass dragon named Newt, and they were able to get on a ferry that went through the mountain across the lava through magical means in exchange for defending the boat on their way through. A bunch of Duergar attacked the ferry, and adventurers were able to fight them off, except there was one remaining one who was brought to 1 hit point and used his last action to detonate a fireball device of some kind that knocked out everybody to 0 hit points. So that is where we rejoin our group now. Once again, we can't tell you how upset and sad we are that this audio problem happened and we lost a bunch of good times on this, but hopefully there won't be as many in the future, and at least by the end this problem is eliminated. So, and thanks a lot for watching. We're actually surprised that anyone is here watching this, so thanks and enjoy the rest.
just whooped a bunch of
Mara.
Drugar or whatever. Isn't that Drugar?
You did.
Sort of.
And
up
you
to a
all
point.
went in unconscious.
To a point.
Yeah, that's the last thing that happened was we all got knocked out. So we're waking up in a bed or something,
yeah.
right?
Yeah,
Did you guys all roll up new
thwarted.
It's a shallow
Do
victory.
we need to roll saving throws?
I actually, during that last thing, I rolled death saves to see if I stabilized before anyone came to save me, and I just barely made it, having expended a particular class feature that allowed me to add 2d4 to a failed save. So.
Right.
Yeah, I was one under.
So you would have died if nobody came to help you, Argus?
Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
Wow.
Noted. Well, it's a good thing you guys were taken care of. Luckily, the passengers were safe, and you guys didn't get, knocked unconscious and taken over on the ship. Otherwise, our story would have ended a little early, and then I would have fulfilled my promise that I said earlier at the very beginning of this campaign.
Calling his shots.
You mostly killed me.
Yeah.
I mostly killed you.
But
Right.
as we all know, mostly dead is slightly alive.
That's right.
Yes.
Apparently.
You guys do have some lingering injury, though, from your experience, because you were knocked unconscious, you were taken out. Most of it is in the form of burn marks or scarring or loss of hair.
I trimmed my beard to reflect the loss of mass from there. See how much shorter it is.
No, me beard. I'll call it a warrior's beard.
Right. It's a rude thing to use flame on a dwarf.
Very tacky.
But yeah, you guys were, last we left off, you guys guarded passage on a ship as guards during your travel. During the second day, you were visited upon and besieged by some Durgar who had managed to find a method and a means to board and attempt to take over the ship you were on, which is of a revolutionary design and has increased trade and transport for safe travels for Volkstead and the nation. As such, you guys fought valiantly, doing some creative moves and preventing yourselves from being thrown off into the boiling lava. And unlike certain other insurgents, but they were thwarted, and in their death-defying attempt, they had came somewhat prepared to throw their life away at the attempt of at least damaging the ship or making it weak enough to potentially take over. However, their plans were thwarted, but you were knocked all unconscious from an explosion that happened on deck through the somewhat suicidal or valiant attempt of one of the Durgar. You guys later wake up inside a rather well-kept home. It is sunlight outside, somewhat to your surprise as you bleary-eyed open up and look around your surroundings. You're in fine beds and sitting side by side with with a dwarven nurse maid in the room, seeming to have been changing out some cloths and having treated you. Each of you starts to wake up and look around, noticing that you see blue sky off to your right, as well as kind of an open... the room doesn't have windows, per se, like glass, but it does have like an open balcony like area, like you're in a cave mouth that's on the side of a cliff, and you can start to see over into what seems to be a very bright noonday, with somewhat of a large shadow cast over from something. It's somewhat. It makes you somewhat not delirious. What's the word I'm looking for? Disoriented, because you were in this orange glow of a cave, got knocked out, and went black, and then to wake up in what looks like a fine hotel area.
They must have heard I was coming.
The maid, noticing you guys' stirring, turns and goes, "Oh, goody. You've all woken up. I'll go grab the young master, and he will take care of you. The captain has seen to your needs and taken care of you. We've arrived in Jordsgarden. If you'd like to take a view over the on the balcony there, you can see the splendor that is known as the Jewel of the Earth." And Bruce? She starts to walk out.
Where's Bruce? Bruce.
You hear a small squeaking noise as wrapped in white cloth and propped up in an odd way, and seemingly like toothpicks that are used as stints, have supported your bat friend inside of a small cage next to you.
Hey, buddy. All right, how you guys doing over there?
If you could have half a hit point.
I can't see. I can't see. My eyes hurt so much.
Yeah, I'd do better with the warm last to warm my bed.
I feel like I was chewing.
Oh, I feel plenty warm. I could really use something cold right now. Oh,
Argus,
I hope Jordsgarden is snow.
Austin has a lingering injury in his eyes.
Oh.
Argus has lingering injury from scarring over his face and body, which will make his performancing and carousing more difficult.
Oh, no.
Jasper.
Dang.
Jasper, your movement speed has been reduced as your legs are basically third-degree burned.
Oh, jeez.
I can do a little bit about
legs.
that.
Oh, no.
Is there a maid in the room?
Not anymore. She left to go get the ship captain, who seems to have given you room and board while you were healed.
Well,
trying to move a little
I cast
bit.
About me.
Yeah.
I'll cast About me for my harp or something, so I can basically throw a healing spell through some sort of song, like playing and chant.
Okay. You reach for your gear. You guys have been stripped of all your clothing and been replaced with bandages and other things, and your equipment seems to be, quote, missing. But a quick look around the room, you start to notice that it has been put in shelves and otherwise around the room. You could get up to go and do it if you like.
I don't have to do that. I can just chant it from here.
Okay.
I'll compose a little song
Dulcet
that'll make everybody feel a little better.
Okay.
And I can do a song that will increase everybody's healing, daily healing.
The Song of Rest?
Yeah. I can do the Song of Rest, but I can also cast Aid or whatever it is, which is
that will help you with your health.
Hearing.
However, you might need a more powerful medical treatment in order to treat these wounds, or a longer term. This isn't something that will be solved simply quickly.
Scar, yeah. Burn scars? Yeah.
Jasper moves a little bit in bed, thinking maybe he might get up, and his legs, he feels that horrible stretching and then tear sensation of the blistered skin. It just looks under the sheets
like jerky.
Yeah. It looks like someone laid a bunch of paper cloth over burnt sausages or something. He's just like, oh, yeah. Oh god, oh no. Oh, that's bad.
But,
that's bad.
Okay. After a moment, you hear knocking at the door, and in comes Captain Harmon. Well, lads, I appreciate your help and everything. I took the liberty of treating you somewhat and making sure that you stayed alive after you protected both the crew and the passengers in quite a valiant display. I am sorry that you have been injured as much as you have. We've done our best here. However, you will need to properly see a cleric and get some proper treatment. However, given the fees of taking care of you and everything else like that, it was deducted from your you protecting the crew in that. However, I do have some gold for you. And it gives you guys a small pouch. Each of you can add 25 gold to your inventory, subtracted from the extra that you would have made from saving all the crew while he's treated you. You guys were out for about 2 days, so it's been a while. I've made notice to your compatriot Seere, and she'll be along to pick you up. She's been tirelessly working, apparently on some kind of guild, and getting you guys some contract related to the that feud that's going on between the Firebeards and the Stoneborns. Right. So I wish you best of luck. Considering you were as good as you were on the ship, I imagine that you might get hired by one of them to represent them. So best of luck with that. Feel free to stop by my place. You're more than welcome to rest here for the time being. If you'd like to stay longer, you're going to have to talk to the keeper, as I have paid for your a couple days rest. That's the remainder there, so don't worry about it too much. But if you guys haven't been to Jordsgarden probably before, I recommend taking a look at the view. It's quite extraordinary here. There's a reason why people travel here as a relaxing vacation spot. All right. Despite the dangers.
Yeah, if only I could see it.
Right, that's my. I'm told your eyesight should be coming back later today, but you may have some difficulty seeing for the next while until you get healed.
Actually, wait a minute. Where's my shield?
Should be over by the side of your bed.
Can you bring it to me?
Nods towards the handmaid, and she goes over, picks it up, and hands it to you.
Okay, I touched the shield, and I was like. And I'm like, oh, okay, I can see normally. Not as good as I could before, but it kind of broke even with my vision. So, okay, I can do this. Oh, still
I can do
burns,
but
right
now.
But I can handle that.
Right. I have some business to attend to. I am staying in this place. Feel free to let the front desk know if you need to get a hold of me. I'm going to be in port for some time, as we've been making a report of the first time we've had Duragai insurrection happen on the ships. Part of the reason why we made them was to avoid them harassing our shipments and trade routes along the roads and over the mountain passes or through the tunnels. So we thought we had came up with a perfect solution. It had been working for many years. This is the first time we've seen them be so brazen in an attempt. Plus, I need to go talk to Newt about his job of scouting.
Why were they so suicidal in their attempt?
Well, yeah, they are. They must be a very sad people. I mean, just sort of just a vengeance explosion thing. They just must be very depressed all the time. That sounds terrible. Yeah, I feel kind of.
They go through. I've heard them taking extreme measures recently, but wasn't aware of them having such influence or ability to. I'm surprised they got past some of the guards around the different tunnel shafts, so they must have been working on that one for a while. But sure, there's sure to be an investigation that goes on about that. Their influence has seemed to be growing. It seems they were members of the Iron Spike clan, which is a rather notorious and evil clan that has a bit of a bone to pick with Jordsgarden or everything with Volkstad, considering that we've taken their birthright, is what they say, and that Jord is a false god, and that he shouldn't be worshipped, and that he has stolen the bounty of the land from whatever thing that they worship.
Right.
I don't know too much about it, but I do know that rather than appreciative about the resources and the splendor, which I'm sure you'll see here today, that we have access to in both magical and material wealth. Though that has seemed to draw the attention of a lot of pompous dwarven fools. Oops. Either way, I've washed my hands of such a life, but it comes in useful from time to time. Well, take care. Let me know if you need me. And he steps out, leaving you guys to your own devices. You have one day in this inn that's taken care of for you. You quickly find out that the inn's name is called the Diamond Hammer. It is of a rich lifestyle.
Diamond Hammer.
Yeah.
All right. How do you figure out your spellcasting ability? I forgot it again.
It's 8. It's a basic
Charisma.
8 plus your charisma.
Charisma. Ooh, really?
Plus
No, 8.
proficiency.
No, you're telling him it's DC. Your modifier is just your charisma modifier.
Okay.
Charisma modifier is just that.
Well, I can give everybody within hearing 7 points of healing.
Oh, you guys are fully healed. You just have a lingering injury from it.
Oh, okay.
So we took a long
We
rest.
need to get up and walk around.
Yeah, you guys need to take time to heal yourself, either through downtime or through purchasing some service or something that way.
Jasper spends the next 10 minutes rotating his legs, keeping them straight out in front of him so he doesn't have to bend them, and then wiggling his way to the edge of the bed so that he can kind of slide over so he doesn't have to bend his legs, and then just kind of teetering out to the balcony, back and forth. Trying not to bend his horribly burnt legs. Goes out to look at the balcony.
Okay, I'll call for their server. Well, first off, I'll take the time to divide up my pouches, divide my gold into a smaller pouch, so that I can spend it, and then I'll call for one of the serving girls to come in.
There's still that maiden that's there, that nursemaid, that seems to have been provided along with your room to help take care of you. She's like, well, yes, what can I do for you? Do you wish to take a bath in one of the hot pools, or do you wish to be served some meal? Your stay has been paid for today and tomorrow, or for tonight as well, so you'll be able to stay here until tomorrow.
Hey, lass. I have a couple of things, and I don't want to take for granted your service. So here's what I need. I need food. I need bath. I need some brawny, good-looking farm girl to come in here and rub these old muscles, and any of my friends who wish the same. And I want to purchase another night at least to start with for all my friends and me. Can you handle that for us?
I don't know about finding somebody to take care of you outside of my own services that have been purchased. You would have to purchase those additional services yourself, but we don't typically hire brawny farmhands to rub oil on your body. So, but I am more than certified as a medical assistant, and she takes a cloth and stretches it over her hand, so I can help you with whatever you may need.
Well, I'm looking for a healing touch. I'm looking for a healing touch. I'd like somebody about $120 to stand on my back.
Oh, I'm sure I can take care of that for you. And she pulls out a wooden mallet from her little pouch on her side, and she's like, "Turn over, honey. I'll take right care of you." And she turns you over and then starts pounding on your back, and you hear cracking noises coming from Hargus for the next while.
This is not what I was in for.
It does seem to be helping, but
dwarven deep tissue
Not quite.
massages, man. That's a.
Are you evil, Valkyrie?
you may wonder if it was just a repurposed meat tenderizer, but
That's exactly what's going on here.
to the dulcet tones of Hargus's agonized grunts and gasps, Jasper wanders out to the balcony and takes a look around off the balcony.
All right. Looking out at the balcony.
Do you want me to catch you? Do you want me to carry you, Jasper?
I'm gonna see how bad it is for a little bit. I'm just gonna kind of walk around, unless I can't see over this railing here. In which case, yes.
Yeah, just toss him on out there.
You come up to the railing. You can kind of see over it. It might be useful for him to give you a boost up. It is made for Dwarven,
Lift.
But this room seems to be human-made as well, because two of your compatriots were human, so you are a little shorter for what's going on. And it's not like a pillared railing where it's open space in between. It's more of a walled railing with a design on it.
Lift.
So as you get lifted up and you get sat on top, both Jasper and Dakren, you look out and you're overlooking the town. You seem to be an apartment building that's built into the side of the cliff wall. So like looking down, you can see that it's just kind of a sheer drop down, but you see other balconies below you. But you seem to be overlooking the town, and it's sparkling. And at first you're kind of bewildered by it. You're like, is it magic or something else like that? And you start to realize everything seems to be made of jewels. And you look next to you and you see these flowers next to you. But instead of being petaled and plant-like, they are made of jewels or rock. Looking next to you, you see tulips made of like pennite and like roses made of like red beryl, alexandrite, sunflowers, where it looks like the flowers you know, but they have the coloration and the material made out of those type of jeweled stones. And they seem to have been planted around you.
Stone. This might be the place to get a dolomite cane.
Yeah. Looking down into the center of the town, you see what looks to be a large stone carved statue of what you imagine is the depiction of Jord, laying on his side, relaxed backwards with a hand up, leaning on a giant rock with a bunch of these flowers of jeweled flowers around him, and a giant tree that's behind him that seems to be glistening of maybe emeralds or some kind of other things for its leaves, and it's made of like stonework. And you see him holding a hammer in one hand, but he seems to be relaxing under the shade of this jeweled tree surrounded by these jeweled flowers that's in the center of the town. And it's a rather large monument to him. And you see
Who's the great dwarf Hefner?
And you see these pools that are running throughout the town, streams with little bridges over them. The streams kind of merge and converge and go throughout all the districts, but you see that there's different colorations. Like some have like a red tint to them, some have this tealish tint to them, and apparently from the minerals that they come from. And you know several different bathing pools that seem to be attached to different homes or places where people seem to be relaxing in that are hot pools. And they have that same strange coloration. But the site is gorgeous. And further out, as you look beyond the city wall, as you are kind of high up, you're in you're able to see most of the town and then a little bit beyond it. You're probably like, I say about 7 stories up, being able to look over this. Further out, you notice just beyond the city walls is that there's a landscape out there, and you see trees and that are glistening as well, similar to what's inside the town, that seem more natural out and about. but there's like a light fog that covers most of it, and then as it goes further out, a heavier and heavier dense fog to the point where you can't see past it, but only in one direction, up to the northeastern direction of you. Mostly north is where the fog gets really dense, and then as you go more south side of it, you eventually hit the side of the mountain, so it cuts off your view, so you can't see from that side. As you are in a kind of a cave mouth, similar to the first, similar to Volkstead, but on the opposite side of the mountain range. But the fog goes less and less. It seems to get less and less speckled of like gemmed wood or the kind of gemstoned plant life, and more into normal plant life as it gets more to the right-hand side.
Did you mention the actual sky?
Yeah, you guys can see the sky from here. It's kind of like how if you had this half-cup dome, very much like if you were to take a bowl, set it on its side, and then cut it in half, you guys are inside that half. So you're like back here on the right, looking out over the town.
So it's like a cove or
yeah,
something like that.
Yeah, very similar to how Volkstead was designed. It looks like they've carved into the mountain, made it a bastion kind of thing.
Yeah.
Your guys' apartment balcony is actually on that sheer wall. It seems to have been built. This inn seems to have been built into that wall and meant to be able to overlook Jordsgarden. You do notice that there are several kind of canyon-esque rock formations that form archways and otherwise, and they kind of spider over each other in several parts of the district, and people seem to have either built a shop on top of those because some of them are large enough, and it has been integrated as part of the society here. So it's a very beautiful and picturesque place. Very much where instead of removing any of the natural formation of rock or stone, they've definitely built around it or built into it. So, but it seems very much to live up to its name as being a tourist attraction spot as well as a place of relaxation. And you realize that this is where Branbrek probably grew up.
How would we know that? Did he mention it?
If he didn't, he was supposed to, so I apologize. I apologize.
Okay. He didn't seem like the type who would, so I don't know. Maybe he did. Do I notice any gem orchid flowers anywhere?
You do. The orchid is made of pink diamond.
Is there one in the room with us?
Yes, there is one next from your balcony. The balcony that you're on, like there's the stone facing, and then just on the other side of it, there seems to be dirt that has been planted with these flowers.
Interesting. Like real dirt, but the flowers are made of gem?
Yes.
Huh. Anyone looking?
That can't be real, right?
I'm not looking.
I mean, the only thing
like is the girl in here
seems to be turned away from you, pounding on Hargus's back. So no, it seems to.
All
right, and yeah, I don't have to worry about noise either. I'm gonna pick up the orchid and just kind of look at it.
Yeah, as you grab the stem has kind of a fleshy texture to it, but also kind of a like not metallic. It's like if you had a very soft, tactile gem, and you break it, and it very much snaps like how fiberglass or something else would. Though it seems like it was fluttering in the wind and moving just like a normal plant. However, when you break it, it does that. And slowly you see it start to turn to stone from the base up where you broke it, and slowly goes up, and the entire thing turns to a rock, and then starts to dissolve and dissipate into dust.
Huh.
Well, that explains why they still have gold here.
That's what I was That's what I was wondering. I'll just kind of, and then that's that.
You do have pink
Very
dust if
interesting.
you want to use it. No,
Pink dust?
it is the same.
Major-
The dust color matches the coloration of the flower.
Is it?
Okay, so it didn't turn to like gray stone. It just kind of stiffened up and then
The
like
stem turned to
dissolved
gray
in
stone, but
powder.
the flower petal itself turned to pink dust. The same coloration as whatever the gem
Okay.
was. Sorry.
Is it?
Okay.
Is it still diamond dust?
It
Oh yeah,
seems
does
like
it sparkle and stuff in the?
doesn't
in
it
the
seems to
sun?
have none of its luster that it did. It's almost like if it was maybe a chalk or some other kind of
Excuse me.
type at that point. Like you can
Chalk
shift it in your
dust,
hands and it's almost like chalk at that point.
Gotcha.
It's
That makes
very.
sense.
It seems to have lost any of it. However, also if you reach out and grab another and fill it, it's very smooth, kind of like touching a Jolly Rancher that's not sticky. And
Like glass.
yeah, it feels like glass, but it feels like it has fleshy give to it. It's very strange. Definitely something is off about this. Does your eyes allow you to detect magical essence?
Yeah, I would do that at this point. That's what I was going to just say.
Yes.
Is I'm going to use Eldritch Sight, and my eyes kind of flicker
There's
red
definitely
as
a
I
hint
look
of
it over.
transmutation and enchantment across all the plant life.
All the flowers within
Yeah.
range. I
But
can
it's
see. Okay.
but it's different
30
than what you've seen transmutation, you've seen enchantment before, you've seen illusion before, and while there's hints of it, it doesn't feel like any of those are specifically the cause, and it seems to exude like the residual effects of such, but it doesn't feel like there's a current casting of that spell on it. But they do definitely seem magically infused with that kind of presence. Those are the types of essence that you can most attribute it to. Something has definitely affected the plant life here.
Yeah, I'll mention that
Are
to
they
Jasper. I'll
magically
just be like,
delicious?
oh, it's not an illusion. These are definitely infused with something that has changed their properties. Very interesting.
No,
These dwarves are
strange.
pretty interesting.
It's a lot of effort to make everything sparkly like that, though.
Probably souls.
I don't
Probably souls.
Or maybe they
Souls,
breed them this way, or maybe they absorb gem minerals and I don't know. Very interesting.
As a note, you do notice that it's not just within the walls that these jeweled plant life seems to be. As looking at the tree, you start to imagine that, oh, that tree isn't sculpted. It's probably an actual tree that's like these flowers. Mm-hmm. But looking beyond the walls, that forest that you see is full of them.
Right. Interesting. I wonder.
That seems to be.
Yeah, these aren't constructs. Yeah. These are magical plants.
Yeah, they seem to grow that.
Very pretty.
Yeah. And then there was some.
Hence why it's called Jordsgarden.
Yeah. There's normal plants growing towards the far northeast there. They start to show up. You can kind of just see them through the fog a little bit before I can't see anything. So I wonder if the effect is kind of centered here and then it kind of radiates outward or something like that. Or interesting.
As a note, when you look at northeast, it is the further. It's like a dense fog cloud, but the fog gets less and less as it approaches the city from that direction. So you can see more of the trees as it gets closer, but the further back you look into that fog, the more dense the amount of non-normal plant-like trees that you see. The more jeweled, the more rock-like. Or yes, it seems like it's denser the further it goes into that fog.
Oh, well, maybe not.
And while you look to the right, you do notice that there is occasional normal plant life around.
Okay.
But Jordsgarden, the city itself, has very much made use of the
cultivated
jeweled version.
The jewels, yeah, sure. Interesting. Huh.
Yep.
I mean, what's our next step here? I guess I think we're as good as we're gonna get for now, unless we get some powerful healing. I guess I feel like I should probably just be up and moving a little bit before I turn into a crystal gnome on the bed.
You hear a large
Hey,
splash as
ma'am.
Argus has been thrown into one of the pools that is near your guys' room from the nursemaid, who,
Not hot.
being a dwarf woman, apparently is strong enough to lift Hargus with one hand and throw him and treat him like a child into the pool. So she wasn't lying when she said she was skillful.
I'm gonna call to her. Hey, Miss. Miss.
Yes, what can I help you with?
Sorry to interrupt. Sorry to interrupt. Carry on after this, but I was just wondering. You mentioned, was it you or the captain who mentioned our companion Seere, our guide?
Oh yes, she has been notified. She should be showing up. Knock, knock, knock.
Man, she's good.
Oh,
Speak
of the tiefling. Speak of the
tiefling. Hey, I take offense to that. I'm not a devil. I'm a tiefling. I have some devil blood, but that doesn't make me one.
You're
Seere. Good to see you. Have you heard it all during the attack?
Hargus, cover yourself, man.
Oh no, I stayed far away. I was watching from captain. I was one of the first ones to come out and administer aid to you, as well as
Appreciate that.
help deal with making sure that you didn't roll off into the lava.
I can't afford to share this with the public.
Well, not for free, anyway.
Well, good.
She
we were
glances
just
over at Hargus and then immediately looks back and just is like ignoring that side of the room.
I guess we were just wondering. I mean,
wet rat.
I mean, they just mentioned that we'd be getting some sort of healing done. My eyes are killing me, obviously, and I think Jasper has it worse off. But after that, we were just wondering what our next step is for helping out our buddy Branbrek. Now that we're here,
Branbrek. Oh, right. I haven't looked too much into him.
Remember him?
little guy
been busy trying
about
to set
that
up our
dwarf's height.
Right. I haven't had much of a chance to set up much investigation into Branbrek. Supposedly, his family's here at the Ironwood logging company that's just outside the city walls, or mining company. I don't know why they say logging. I mean, they basically mine those, and she gestures towards the gem trees and stuff like that.
Right. I suppose
I guess they build stuff out of gem logs, maybe. I don't know. It's going to be interesting to find that out.
But I've been busy at work of working on getting us introductions with the Firewoods, or the Firebeards, or the Stoneborn. At the moment, they're not willing to see any adventurers that don't have some kind of notice or a degree or something that way. But that's not just applying to us, as we have just helped out one of the Firebeards. Captain Harmon is a Firebeard, but he has long since kind of sworn off his noble duties from them, and they've kind of looked on him as an outcast, but they can't cast him out because he's quite accomplished as a person, so it's kind of a mutual benefit thing for them. There's a proprietor, or one of the playmill taverns here in town that is a member of the Stoneborns, and we could potentially do a request for either of them and use them as a means to get into good graces with one of them and act as their representatives, and then go from there. As for Brand, I haven't looked into his situation at all or anything, so I don't know much more other than the recent nobilities kind of polarized views about his family coming to nobility. Some people are for it, some people are against it, but I haven't really done much other than that. I don't know much about it. there's an elven embassy here. You can see it over there, and you see kind of like a sore thumb. One of the only spots where there's more natural plant growth. There is some gemmed trees there too, but there is more natural plant growth and a building that. The reason why it stands out is because it's like a dark spot among all this glistening kind of view. But the trees are green and vivid, so it's well kept. It looks beautiful, especially where it's intermingled with some of the jeweled trees. But it's not all that and not all stone, so it kind of stands out a bit. And it seems to be a fenced-off area. There's an elven embassy, and there's a kind of a general communion or town meeting place. I don't know what it's called. They call it I actually don't remember what it's called. I'll have to remember. I'll go look it up.
You're new to town, so I don't blame you for that, Seere. We all got to ask around.
But I may have found a spot to set up shop for our guild. I'm just working through some of the finer details, but should you guys need anything, or if you make a decision that way on what side you want to support, I can give you some additional information that I found out about both sides. They are offering to the adventurers that help them get the ambassador position certain benefits for them in their guild. So it's kind of nice. Have I gone over those with you before?
No, I haven't.
I don't recall. No.
I don't think so. I was also wondering about that dwarf with the stilts. Do you remember him?
Dwarf with the stilts.
Who?
Oh, yes, he would be back in Volkstadt. He was one of the messengers for the king, but he's just a noble that's a bit of a pompous prick. Hopefully we don't have to see him ever again.
Right.
Well, I thought he was the one who was going to arrange our meeting with the, getting Branbrek out. Wasn't he?
He is somebody that he's one of the messengers that ended up capturing Branbrek. However, his position isn't he's not a warden or anything over a jail. He was just one of the.
Why did he even come to our guild then? Is it because Bran was a member of our guild and he was?
He was a noble errand boy. They ran into Branbrek by chance and then convicted him.
Yeah, he probably got some rep for turning him into people for whoever wanted him. Probably got a few points on his badge or something for rep for the local nobles or something for turning them in and bringing them back.
So who is the one who initiated this whole quest with the ambassador families and stuff like that? How do we? I'm confused at how we even got to this point.
Sarah is your liaison for that.
Yeah, the guy who came
into the ambassador was the one that was going to went to Hardale to hire guild people from the guilds there. He had been going to the different guilds. However, his main job was just an errand boy, as was stated. They happened to capture Branbrek while in lieu of that, and incarcerated him and captured him for things that nobody seems to know about at the moment. And he, one of his conversations was that, when we got that extra baggage that was going on, they didn't come there for Bran. They ended up grabbing him in addition to what he was originally coming there for, which is to go to the guilds and put up requests. And then Sarah is your guild's liaison who has taken over that request and is basically your in-between for that. There is, however, she will bring up, let me pull up my note here. She does bring up that there's an overseer who is that she's been in communication with that is overseeing the feud between the two families for this position, who is called Hallen Grimbeard. He's an overseer for this trial. He's considered a judge in their court system.
Was that Grim
And
A what?
Was that Grim
Yeah,
Beard?
Grim Beard.
That's a WoW
Hallen.
character of mine.
Oh wow. Well, it was a generated name, so.
So he's like the judge, sort of in charge of the case. Is that what I'm understanding?
Yes, he's overseeing the whole thing. He's known as the overseer for this, but his name's Hallen Grimbeard. You can find him in the center hall here in Jordsgarden. And she points that out, and there's this big elaborate building that's just on the other side. You guys are able to see it from here, but it's next to that giant monument to the Jord. So it's just in the center of town. But you can always go there and contact Hallen if you have certain requests or you have people that will vouch for you or things that way. There's a couple of different things that we need to acquire. One is we need to get in good graces with one of the two parties, whichever one we think is the best. Once we've gotten to their good graces, we need to increase their standing. So in one way or another, usually through some means of some objective that they may need or otherwise, and then should that all go swimmingly well, then those will be presented to Hallen, and then the majority vote for one family or the other, then that's how they win. So it's a fairly standard process. It's rare for them to contest the points of interest or make some kind of ancient claim that you have to do some trial or some combat thing or something that way. So that shouldn't happen. So. But this is typically figured out very diplomatically. So it is through Hallen and through my means, communication, that after we've picked a side, that we will start attempting to represent them by going and doing different things that they would normally entail into their ambassadorship. Either settling disputes, going and finding it, maybe and
we become their errand boys.
Yes.
Right.
You know, the requirements here. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
It's just trivia, but the requirements here remind me of a lot of tribal war chief requirements, Native American, and for this, we'll say a bunch of mountain tribes require close to the same things for their war chiefs.
Makes sense, I suppose.
And that's one of the prerequisites is to travel to foreign lands, to fight enemies abroad.
Yeah. So it will depend on who we talk to, what they may need. But for the moment, if we want to get inside, there's a couple of neutral factions in the town that we might be able to persuade to one side or another as an alternative means, who can definitely sway the vote. Two of those people that I recommend personally, who are of the neutral faction, is Harmon Firebeard, who you've met, and for Flowenla Stoneborn. She's the owner of the Thunder Forge here in town, and it's an establishment that's kind of on the higher price, but for commoners, and they specialize in entertainment. Much like Harem, she is of a neutral faction. Neither of them share much of their family's gusto in being nobles, so they're well loved by a lot of the common people and travelers here. So getting their votes, regardless of which side we choose, getting their vote for the side that we're on would, sway some people.
You said she was manager of what now? Which place was it?
The Thunder Forge.
Thunder Forge, right. And
it's apparently a very musical place. I don't know.
There you go, Hargus. And just to be clear, this Firebeard Stoneborn feud, that doesn't directly tie into Brand's trouble, as far as we know. right? I mean, what does it? How is it?
Like I said,
why are we doing that?
I think we're doing that for the guild.
For the Valiant Allies.
Yeah.
It's a chance for us to explain a lot of renown and other things. And plus, as you may have noticed, it's we get in good graces with one of these noble families. Whatever Brand's problem is, I mean, they're on equal standing, if not greater than him. So,
Right.
And then they would become an ambassador, and they could help us with whatever his problem might be.
Right.
So,
can I make a lore roll to see if there's any gossip about one of the groups that we may not have heard here? That didn't sound very good. Sorry, I'm distracted by the people coming in and out.
yeah, no.
Gossip.
Can I make a lore roll to see if I know anything about? Yeah, a gossip check about either one of these factions that might sway our opinion.
Sure, yeah. Make a specifically a history check.
History. Well, I rolled a 16, and with history, let me see here, 17.
So this will be in tangent with what Seere tells you. And it does strike up some knowledge that you know. With a 16, this was what you'll know. The Stoneborns, noble faction, are an old, kind of prideful dwarven family. They've been around for a long time. They still hold grudges regarding some ancient wars between them and elves. Other than elves, they're typically fine with most races. Though they do have some prejudice against all races, they are particularly unfriendly towards elves. But they're more than willing to do business or trade or be respectful to other races. But elves, they typically tend to always distrust. And
sounds like most of the dwarves I know.
Yeah.
Or have met.
That's the Stoneborns. In addition, you know that they have, being an ancient family, they're very well connected with material goods, with magical goods. So they have access to stuff that people don't normally have access to. As one of the benefits of maybe supporting them, you may get access to larger sums of gold and rewards for quests. You may have access to rare magical items that may turn up more often. And Jord is the greatest god among the gods, is what your lore check. That's their firm belief, is that Jord is the best god. Any other god you shouldn't be worshipping, because he is the head god. He's what forged the world.
Gods can go.
Firebeards are a much more moderate faction compared to the Stoneborn. They don't mind most races in general. They're actually very friendly with all of them, and they think that each of them are, not of equals, not equals in the sense of everybody's the same. They acknowledge everybody has their own strengths, but because they all have their own strengths, they should be mingled together to make the finest work. However, they are very prejudiced against monster races. They do not look kindly on orcs. Half orcs they're fine with. They've understood that it wasn't their choice to be born half orc, but they don't like orcs themselves and stuff that way. But they realize that they have a place. But the more barbaric and monstrous races, like goblinoids, they will hunt. They do not like them. On top of that, from what Seere can tell you, is that this is more game mechanic at this point, you get better results from your downtime activities having them supporting you. Having had a variety of connections and other things with the various races, they're not limited to normal means. So anything you try to do during your downtime is doubled in its effect. They have famous connections, so it's easier to find lore. It's easier to find information about people or about things or places. It's easier to get informants in different areas, and it's easier to get established information in places that are remote if you're with them. Temple, shipping, and other services, like going to a cleric to get healed or something else that way, because of their connections, are cheaper for you. And then there's some other minor effects. They do have a couple of magical items, but they do not have the plethora that the Stoneborns do. So one's more material good, and one is more social good, you could say that way.
Well, I don't know about you lads, but I'm more for the moderate ones than I am for the conservatives. That's a poor way to put it, but the Redbeards are the ones that are like
the way to throw in your Texan opinion.
The old school dwarves are the
hardliners, the old hardliners.
Yeah, they're more the our way or the highway. Any race but them. The moderate dwarves. I can't remember their names. There's the Redbeards or the hardliners. The Firebeards, and the other ones.
Stoneborn.
The Stoneborn, which are the moderate ones.
No. Stoneborn are the ones that are the more ancient family.
Okay.
They're more of your traditional dwarf, but they have access to a lot of more gold, magical items, things like that, because they've been established for a long time. The Firebeards are
old money,
more new, and they like the people, the different races and stuff like that.
Well, I guess what I was trying to say is, if we're making decisions for guild, then we would want to go with the Firebeards, right? Because in the short term, it would make more sense to go with the Stoneborn, but in the long term, for our guild, because there's only one of our party that is a dwarf, and he's not here.
Right.
Seere pipes up about that. Actually, financial gains, the Stoneborns are probably better overall because they have well-established money and magical items. Like, that's something that could be very beneficial and a great selling price for a guild. However, so could the Firebeards, because like you said, they have better social connections. It's easier for us to set up guilds in other places.
How do the Stoneborns
we're hindered because we're not all dwarves. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, we know the Stoneborn don't like elves, but how do they feel about half-elves?
They don't seem to mind, they don't seem to mind goblins, hobgoblins, and stuff like that. They don't necessarily see them as, quote, equals, but they treat them equally as business partners as much as any other race. It seems the only one that they have a problem with are elves.
Right.
That's what he just asked, is like, how do they feel about half-elves?
I imagine that,
as I go to cover my slightly pointed ears, and I realize my hair is burned away anyway, so I'm just like,
they probably treat you a little bit dirty because they don't like elves in general, but very much like a half orc and an orc, they kind of treat that the same as how the Firebeards treat half orcs. They don't think it's your fault that you were born half breed, but some of them may not share that opinion.
It's very generous of them. I guess we could talk
long story short, the Stoneborns don't like the neighboring elven country.
Mm-hmm.
And the elven embassy being here, they feel like it's a blight upon the district. They'd rather turn that into somebody else's embassy and move that embassy over into Volkstad, making them have to travel more and pay more money for it.
And then, could you just repeat the benefits of each one real quick? Which one was the downtime?
That's the Firebeards.
Okay, so Firebeards is amplified downtime.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else?
You get any lore research or otherwise that you may do is much easier on the DC.
You guys
so if
like
you're trying
that.
to find out information, if you're trying to gain information, if you're trying to get help at a place, like say you want to hire hirelings, it's easier through the Firebeards.
Better
they might also be able to supply the Valiant allies with better research materials too. Who knows?
Yes.
Okay.
It's easier to get hirelings. Basically, anything
hirelings.
downtime related, the Firebeards are better at. Anything downtime related.
And hirelings.
Yeah. They're
Okay,
also better
and
for
then
social contacts or other stuff like that. Like, if you drop that you're related to the Firebeards and you're trying to make say you're in some other nation, I don't know what, the human nation or in the elven nation, and you're trying to make some kind of persuasion roll or try to get into some kind of connection, whether that's the black market or royalty, the Firebeards help with that DC.
all right.
So it's advantage on persuasion checks regarding royalty or some kind of intrigue that way.
And then
The Stoneborns are magical arms and equipment, and you get more gold. So while you don't have the social aspect, you might be able to bribe people easier because you'll just have more gold on you. You might be able to just pay for things instead.
Okay, we've had a lot of briefing here. How do I put this? Would it be advantageous for me to? Are we supposed to be approaching them, or are they going to approach us? Because if they're approaching us,
they have put that out. The adventurers say, "Hey, pick me to represent you."
Yeah, we're going to go to them.
Yeah,
I'm just saying, as a bard, it might be better for me to apply my trade and bolster our reputation around town with some of the stories I've already put to song. It might be more advantageous if I was to spend a couple of days. We could hang out here, recover, spend a couple of days bolstering our reputation. Like, what are we going to call ourselves?
A little self-marketing
in song. Yeah, a little soft marketing. I've heard of them. Yeah, we want them on our side. You know what I mean?
I did have some...
I mean, you could, but you're not the only guild that's doing it. Honestly, if you don't go through Harmon or through not Harmon.
But they have a
Harmon. If you go through Harmon or Fonuela, those are going to be your point of connection for getting into those houses because there's still the representation. So they're the easiest way, and that's what others are going to try and do.
Yeah, sure.
And honestly, the longer we take, the more likely other adventurers will take those positions from us or those opportunities away from us, and then they'll be representatives instead.
Right. Well,
there are other guilds here. So
I was thinking...
what do you guys... Oh, go ahead, Jasper.
I was going to say the other thing we might need to do is talk with Brand's family and see... what their thoughts are on this. I mean...
Brand's family is a noble family, so they would have a voice in the vote.
Right. I mean, at least we could get some guidance on what's going on with him a little bit. I know... All right, correct me if I'm wrong, but Bran had a bit of a thing for elves, right? He had sort of like he had a thing for elves. So I don't know... that might put the Stoneborn kind of off the table right away. Especially also, forgive me, Dakren, if I'm speaking out of turn, but a whole family that allies themselves with goblins and hobgoblins, that's probably not really to your liking all that much, I would assume. And
I'm of
goblins,
an old school nature about dwarves.
Bugbears, whatever, but hobgoblins,
orcs.
Absolutely not.
That's what I'm saying.
I refuse to.
So they... allying with the Stoneborn.
And which ones sympathize? Stoneborn?
The Stoneborn do.
What positive experience have you had with orcs?
Well, I've never met one, actually, so... net some zero.
I've met a few, in quotes.
Grumpy.
So the Firebeards don't like monstrous races at all.
Right.
They think that they could earn... that you'll have to talk to them about stuff like that.
So, I mean, just off the cuff.
The general consensus is that Firebeards don't like monstrous races.
Sure.
Don't like them at all.
Right.
The Stoneborns have a grudge against elven races.
Never want one that wasn't trying
but they don't typically have a problem with any race other than elves for that reason. Doesn't mean they won't work with them, but they don't like them. Like a traditional dwarven sense.
Sure. So, I mean, I guess
it
seems
and
like...
don't get along.
It seems like if we go with Stoneborn, we're sort of pitting ourselves against elves entirely, which I'm not sure if I want to hop on that train. And Yeah.
I've never been fond of them myself.
Well, they're
for obvious reasons.
Yeah. I mean, they like trees an
Wasn't
awful lot.
not really proud of my father's lineage, whoever he was.
Yeah, that's fair. But yeah.
But
you talked about the elves there, Dakren.
Yeah.
You're not fond of elves.
Granted, I haven't had much experience with them in my own life, but judging by what my own mother's experiences with them, I don't think they're very honorable people. So,
really,
that's just my experience so far.
You
I mean, sure, they've got
of
good
the
thongs.
Elves you've met, the majority of the elves you've met are the product of rape by humans. Except for that bright
there's
exception.
no proof of that.
I mean,
okay.
There's no proof of that. I'm sure it's mostly seduction by elf. I mean, sure, they're all beautiful and everything, but I mean, they apparently live so long they don't care about anything that lasts less than 100 years, including
this is a
very relationship with a human.
On elves I've never heard before.
I'm just going with my own life, Hargis. That's my father was some elf who passed through my mother's town when she was a young maid. He was off looking through the world, trying to find new experiences. He just wanted to experience everything in the world, including a night with my mother, apparently. That was the only time she ever saw him. She never learned his name. What did you say?
I wasn't going to say that.
I called your dad a whore. Sorry.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought you were talking.
I'm a tiefling.
Usually you don't use that for a male, but fine, whatever. Anyway.
I feel like something was about to hit the fan. I was going to go into the table.
Smoke started gathering around my hand, and then it fizzled out.
Sarah just takes that awkward step back, like I'm just gonna back out the conversation. Ignore me.
I would not disparage your poor lineage. I understand your attitude. It's just
I'm sure not all elves. I'm sure not all elves are like him. But he swept her off her feet. He enchanted her. She thought he was an amazing person, and she doesn't even remember his name now. She always just called him the elf, and so that might be part of it as well. As I went through my whole childhood, having her called the elf, and all the troubles that were his fault and everything, leaving her with me, that sort of thing.
Right.
So anyway, that's my experience with them, and I've never met one in real life, so I can't say for sure. But I mean, I like their poetry. Their poetry is nice.
Well, they do tend to reside on the other side of the mountain from Jordsgarden and the Hardale Nation. So
exactly, that's probably why I've seen one. They didn't serve in the army in the Third Hobgoblin War, so I didn't meet any there. And I've never met. I mean, I've seen a couple of other half-elves. That's about it. So anyway, that's just my experience with them. But I don't know. What are you guys leaning towards? Because I don't know. I'm leaning towards the Stoneborns just because I feel like our missions would get easier and the overall power of the guild could increase if it had more magic items and treasure to its disposal.
I think in the short term, yes. But I think in the long term, it's going to be a negative issue for us that most of us are not dwarves. And the one dwarf as a matter of fact, the one dwarf we even have in our party, that we've only met two dwarves that are in the guild, and that would be the guy in our party and one of our I can't think of what they're called. One of our
co-workers.
Oh, you mean the janitor?
No, he was
yeah.
I thought one of our emissaries with the guild was a dwarf. wasn't he?
I
Our
think
actual guild.
Seere is our only connection with.
But Branbrek is the only other dwarf I know that is in the guild.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I'm just saying in the long term, it seems like the one that is biased, racially biased, might be a hindrance to us later in the long term. But money speaks.
Well,
Thank you,
maybe
brother.
we could talk with. Maybe talking with Brand's family would be a good first step. Then, just kind of get a sense of.
Might give us some insight. There's a baby.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. They know she's there.
Baby. Oh no. The baby has acted and taken out. He's gone.
From
Baby
the other
attack.
side of the room, he psychically yanked the plug.
Right? So, while Dakren is gone,
Right.
so we have one vote for Stoneborns, and we have one vote for Firebeards.
Those are inclinations. They can't be. Those are
Inclinations.
We're still in the
I'm not really voting.
Yeah,
I'm really going to go with the wind
That was
and whichever
weird.
way it
Okay,
blows.
Let's.
Yeah, baby. Anyway,
I can definitely see the appeal of both.
baby on the floor?
Yeah, baby on the
I do
floor.
know. He's still there.
He's pretty
There's
excited
a baby on
about
the floor. Oh, he's coming this
He
way.
wants
Oh,
to
he
roll
pointed at me.
dice.
Oh, I swear he was talking to me. He said, "You, yeah, I want a piece of you."
Get me a D20.
Anyways,
Look at that dead drag.
Daddy, I crit.
That one of these days he'll lift his belly off the floor.
That's all
Anyway,
right. And that will be a day
I'm-
where your freedom ends.
he's just going to be a triangle bodybuilder. He's going to be all upper body, nothing on the legs.
yeah.
My
Exactly.
first son, he rolled. He would aim himself and roll.
Hey,
Which, there was a little art to it, so he had
Yeah,
to adjust.
yeah.
Sometimes he'd get stuck under furniture.
yeah, he got his head stuck in between the DVD player and the table earlier today. I was like, don't stick your head where it doesn't belong, then.
Oh, you're going to stay that another time or two.
Yep.
Why can I get in but not out? All right.
I think.
Anyway,
I think it's probably good that to talk to Brand's family first and get a sense of maybe what they would think would be the best thing to go for there. Just to see if there's anything we don't know about with them. And there's no way that they could have gotten where they are. That's the other thing I noticed too about the Stoneborn is they don't really like the new things happening, right? And Brand's family is very new from what he said. They're like working their way up in all this nobility. And
very liberal, it seems. Huh?
Right. And I mean, Bran keeps a short beard. I know he loves elves something fierce. He's got an elf love in him that will not be dimmed nor put under a bushel. He puts his elf love on a lamp, on a stand, and it shines bright for the world to see. So maybe we just talk to his family and see if we can figure out what's going on with all this, this pervasive elf love, and just see what's going on here.
Smooth.
My guess is they probably don't like the Stoneborns much because of that reason.
That's kind of my guess. That's my guess. So I think it would be.
Branbrek and nails. Branbrek and nails.
It would probably behoove
But then
us
again,
to talk to him.
I mean, look where this love of elves has gotten Branbrek, behind bars. So
and maybe
what's love got to do with it?
I don't know.
If that's the case, maybe that's something we need to learn about now. What if his forbidden love of an elf is what got him in prison? And I think it's important to know this. And we should.
Do we know what got him in jail? Just realized
what on earth
that.
are you guys talking about? How does it have anything
How
to
can
do?
elf just let him standing here?
I haven't met Brand yet.
Right.
Just let him leave without a trace.
I feel like the focus here is find one to support,
right,
so that the guild can prosper.
And here's the thing.
Why are we talking about
Seere,
Brand's imaginary love life?
Seere, here's the thing. We need to find the family that supports us. before
I'm trying to restrain myself.
So
I've got at least 3 more in me.
Yeah. We're pretty sure that Bran has a secret elf family on the side.
Yeah, I thought about not killing me.
He's got secret elf family. He's got secret elf children. Beautiful half elf.
And now he's just left without a trace.
Right, half elf, half dwarf babies. Their pointy little ears and their great full beards deserve acceptance and support as well. And we should just.
They can't make Sparl young, can they? I never met a half.
I have a feeling that might be a bit of an abomination.
What? No, they'd be beautiful. Full.
Have you ever met a half dwarf, half elf combo?
All right, guys. Let's.
For all I know, that's
here.
how you get. For all I know, that's how you get gnomes. I don't know. I'd have to. I was never.
That's
true.
You do have pointy ears and a beard. So
sounds beautiful.
Anyway, if it's up to me, I say we just go for the Stoneborns, just for the sake of time. I would like to speak with Branbrek family eventually,
right?
Just because I'm curious. I really would like to know what he did too. Like,
right.
I don't know if it's some sort of dwarf nation only crime, or if it was a crime against both nations. I don't know.
That's
I wouldn't mind talking to Branbrek's family first. You never know what insight we might get into it if we go and pay our respects and let them know our concerns. They might take us into their confidence.
I think that's a good place to start. Really, just to get.
All right, but let's not spend too much time there.
Yeah, sure.
No,
time's of the essence, and I'd hate for us to lose our window of opportunity. So, let's just pop in, talk for 20 minutes, and then head on out.
I don't know about you, but I probably won't be doing any adventuring in the near future anyway. I got these little crispy legs that I could just kind of hobble around on. So.
Oh yeah, can your healing fix that, or?
I don't.
I'm feeling bruised, but better.
I rubbed some.
You might want to talk to the girl here.
I rubbed some of my salve on it. My typical salve. It, didn't seem to help too much, but.
I just took a deep tissue beating. I'm actually feeling better and worse.
Right.
Glad to be of service, honey.
Thank you, darling. You know I love a sturdy lass.
Oh, I know how they like it. And she walks out to go get stuff.
All right.
Sorry, Dakren's wife.
She can't hear it. He's has headphones on.
Thank God.
As we...
Thank ye gods.
As Jasper goes to gingerly put on pants now, because putting on pants is a whole new challenge in this age of...
I'm more of a Marianne.
You're rough, not quite in the pain state anymore. They've applied enough ointment to where it doesn't hurt. You've restricted movement.
Yeah.
You should let my gal take the ballot to you.
I don't know if I'd survive it, to be frank, Hargus. That was...
Unless we could find some elf winches to walk on our backs. I'll pay a gold piece for that.
Right, yeah. I could just rub a feather on your tuchus and that'll be the same.
Nay, lad, nay.
All right. Well, while you lot get dressed, I'm going to just get ready out on the balcony.
Well, I'm going to... While you guys take care of whatever you're going to do, I'm going to go head to Holland, Mr. the Overseer,
Mr.
Grimbeard, and check from there. But if you want to go see Branbrek's family, it's the Ironwood logging company down there, and she gestures out. Walks to the balcony and kind of points out a destination where you see a building that's kind of close. On the outside of the gates, there's a building, and then there's like what looks like a pathway of like a smaller wall or fencing that leads up to the wall and kind of goes into the city. So it looks like it's something that's an extension.
All right.
So.
All right. Well,
the wall's not huge like how it was in Volkstad. The wall here is relatively more of a normal size, like 15 feet tall kind of thing. Okay. Seems that while they are prepped for battle and stuff like that, they didn't want a very militaristic thing. You actually see a couple outposts out on the outside of the wall that seem to be posted near the forest edge, and that has more of a wall around it. Now that you get a better look during the daytime.
Okay. As Jasper's getting dressed out on the balcony, when he's kind of pretty much ready to go, all suited up and everything, he's just gonna kind of kneel down by those crystal-looking flowers, and just say a little prayer to the Treefather. Just kind of, I'm not sure how to feel about these sort of things. I don't know. Just what do you think about this? Just it's very confusing. Is this good or bad or twisted or what? What is it? And just see if he gets any sense of the Treefather's impression of what's going on with these things.
Make a religion check.
I don't have much for religion, I don't think, which is unsurprising. 15 on the die, though. So, yeah, 15.
I don't know why.
Yep,
You're
15.
not fair. I give you my
You don't get
love,
distinctive impression
care.
either way, so you're not sure if that just means that this is just how it is, or if it's an offense or not an offense. It doesn't seem to have affected it, from what you can tell at the moment. Hard to tell. It doesn't feel like you get any distinct impression one way or another.
Okay, all right. Yep. Now I'll just walk back in.
Okay.
Y'all ready to head out then?
I'm ready when y'all are.
Yep, let's go.
Although I have at least one project I have to complete here in the city.
Well,
I have to attune to my sword, because it's obvious the other one has a few too many downsides.
Right. Do you have that sword on you? Is there a stream of lava we could throw it into nearby? Because
I'd rather sell it to somebody we don't like.
Yeah, I feel like technically,
like some dwarf slavers.
Right. Technically, it was.
Where did you guys get that sword anyway?
Shadow Realm.
Shadowfell. Right. Yeah. Shadow.
Oh, that would explain.
It's actually the same place.
We could see about getting the curse lifted.
We got it from a fellow who looks like he does part-time on a ferry across the River Styx.
Yeah, very smoky, sort of dark-faced fellow.
Seemed funnier when I thought it.
Yeah, that'd do it. I think Lamont mentioned that he can
curse removal?
Remove curses from items, so that, I don't know, we could wait till we get back. Not sure how much it would cost, but...
Well, I just need the one sword.
Right.
And I probably shouldn't carry both. It seemed a little asinine to me. So I'm going to have to give one up.
But actually, you had that new sword you got from the weird dream trip.
That's the one I need to attune to.
Right. All right, yeah, make sure to do that.
And it's dead sexy.
It looks pretty cool, I got to say.
It is.
All right, I'll tuck
Bruce.
It's
Sharpie.
I'll tuck Bruce into my vest, and we'll get on the way.
Oh, no, you don't fear, Bruce. The sword's not for you.
No, it's just where he likes to travel. Actually, must have worked out pretty well, because he didn't even get singed in there.
Oh, baby.
Hello, baby.
He fell. Still getting used to standing up.
Did all right. Looked good. All right, so let's mosey on down, and I guess we'll make our way over to the Ironwood estate, huh?
Let's do it.
All right.
A good walk will do us all good.
I mean, I still feel like I'm sort of hobbling about here, but...
Well, you need a ride? I'll give you a piggyback.
No, I'm going to try and see how bad it is, get a sense of how crippled I am here. We might need to hit a temple or something for some big healing. If this doesn't clear up by the end of today, I feel like I'm going to need maybe to have a more powerful cleric take a look at it. Maybe
the captain said that somebody would come by to restore my eyesight.
I think he said that
Where is
he could go someplace, like we could go to a powerful cleric and have them do it.
Oh, like a temple or something?
I don't know what that's going to run us cost-wise, but...
Yeah, maybe we should do that first, because you can't be going around like that, Or at least maybe they have a wheelchair or something.
Yeah. What is my speed reduced to? How slow am I going?
Only by 10.
Reduced by 10?
10 feet.
Oh, gosh. Reduced by 10 or
A lot
reduced
for a little
to
gnome.
10?
By 10.
We
not
could buy
to
a little
10.
cart.
Oh,
We could buy a little cart.
Right.
Push
5
you
for
around
each
in.
leg.
5 from each leg. All right, so...
Well, just so y'all
get
know,
half
I'm going
of it healed, then you get half of that back.
Oh, man. They charge per leg.
Do you need healing?
Oh, no.
Do you need healing or do you need physical therapy?
Yeah, I think I need some sort of restoration magic. Something a bit.
Well,
a
I
bit
can
more
play to Binkotha. I was gonna do "What Is Love" lyrics to save y'all me singing, but if you want to hear them,
Do you have? I mean, not just healing, but do you have like restoration magic, like where?
no, I don't. I don't have that. That's why I was gonna pray to Binkotha. I don't know why you're not
A goddess
there.
of
I give you my love, but
She
you
might
don't
just-
care. It seems
She
really
might just end
appropriate,
your
though.
suffering. She
So
might
what
just
is
end your
right?
suffering in the
What
wrong
is
way.
wrong? Give me a sign.
Yeah.
Of course.
I'm afraid Dakren might be right. I think Ben Kotha would, permanently relieve our suffering. Come to oblivion, sort of a.
You seem really appropriate for Big Kotha, though.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know why. What can I do? What else can I say? It's up to you. Okay, I'll stop. I was entertaining myself.
Just don't draw her eye to us. Argus.
What is love?
Oh, that's going to draw all the eyes to us.
Hey, I'm playing. I'm a bard. That's what I do. That's the way I roll.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
As much as we hate it, his bard magic still makes us like the songs, and we just still get stuck in our heads, and we're like,
I
dang
always
it,
thought it
Hargus.
was more the. I always thought
So
it was
It's like
more
that
the
moment
topic
you hear
than
a
the
song
skill.
that you start humming, you're like, why do I hum this song? It's stupid.
Yeah.
Why am I doing this?
Yep.
Uh,
Hargus is a purveyor of earworm songs.
I was
They're not
actually
good.
about to say.
They just get stuck in your head.
I was about to say we need to homebrew an earworm spell for bards, and it's actually disappointing that there isn't one already. Where it's
There
something
should be
along
a
the
earworm
lines of you
cantrip or
hum
It's
a
vicious
haunting
mockery.
melody. Well, no, it's like you hum a haunting melody that gets stuck in the target's mind for the duration they have disadvantage on.
I don't need
in
people
history
saying
intelligence.
Baby Shark during their campaigns.
The type of person who would sing Baby
Baby.
Shark would find a way to sing Baby Shark regardless of that specific spell.
What's
I
that
don't know.
creature?
I'm gonna.
Baby bullet,
I may
bullet,
go,
bullet, 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 baby bullet, 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 bullet. Mama bullet.
We gotta.
Okay,
I'm gonna work on that.
none of that. None of that.
Yeah,
Shark.
Austin's
No.
had enough of that one.
It's better to imagine that we have a song stuck in our head instead of actually
How about
having
this?
it in our head.
Instead of having the real one.
Owlbears come and they won't go home. Anyway, sorry.
I
I
look over at Seere. How hard is she face palming at this point?
Is gone. She's learned better.
Is she 20 yards ahead of us or 20 yards behind us? Is the
You
question.
don't see her.
My main
great.
goal
We're gonna get
as a
lost, you
bard
guys.
is to cause people to break into spontaneous dance, whether it be Thriller or something else. I don't
It's
know.
a valiant goal. I guess probably by this time we've made our way to the gates of the Ironwood estate as we all trade earworms.
Really quick, as when you guys looked out over the town, your passive perceptions weren't high enough for this. So roll a perception check for everybody that looked out on the balcony.
I got my shield strapped to my back, so it's just a straight
16.
perception
Nothing
roll.
to speak of.
18.
18. What did you get, Hargus?
16.
16? Okay. Argus, you don't notice this, but Dakren, you do, even with your eyes being as bleary and wounded as they are, there is something that catches your attention behind the I can't think of the name of it. The town hall is what I'm going to call it for now, where Howling Grimbeard is residing on the other side of the monument. You do notice something that looks like a large open space that's behind the building that looks like it might be a bit of a caved and shrouded spot. I can't think of the word at the moment. It's like how some people have an attachment behind their house that creates a canopy of some kind. So it's like they can be inside while outside. I'm trying to think of what
Al fresco area.
Pergola?
Yeah, kind of like those. That's the kind of. Yeah, it's something like that. That's on the other side of it, behind it, but it's a very large area. It has a bunch of the garden decorations on top of it, so it was almost hard to see because it kind of just looked like it was a garden that was behind the building, maybe by a distance. But you notice that there's a large creature that is moving underneath it with a brassy colored skin. After a moment, you start to realize that, you've seen one of these before. It looks like Newt, but this distance, it makes it seem like it's bigger.
I can't see too well with these burned eyes, but is that Newt over there? You guys see that?
Can we see it from where we are now?
Having this pointed out to you two, who don't have as impaired vision, you can kind of make out what seems to be another brass dragon. You can't tell from this distance if it's Newt or not, but it does seem to be bigger than what Newt was.
Right. Maybe that's his dad or his grandpa. He mentioned that he was that great-grandson of that famous one. This one's a bigger one. Huh. I wouldn't mind. That'd be interesting to go meet with a brass dragon at some point. Balakrazodon, I think, was his name. The great grandfather.
I do have a dragon obsession, but I've been told it's best not to attract any dragons. But okay, why not?
Newt was a lot of fun. Newt was an absolute delight. I'd love to hang out with that little fella.
Well, Newt was like a puppy.
Yeah, I mean, not
without the potty training.
Well, I mean, he didn't do anything in front of me, so I don't know. Maybe he could be. But I don't know.
Not the part you usually think about keeping a pet dragon.
So after the
last session,
it makes
good perfume.
Don't feed him cheese; it gives him diarrhea.
Brass dragon. Ooh. After the last session,
a bit of toasted cheese.
Yeah. After the last session with Newt, Dustin and I had a minute to talk afterward, and I mentioned Barnaby the Brass Dragon. Did you guys read that article that he linked in the? No, you can look it up. Yeah, look.
Yeah, that was.
You guys read it?
Funny.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Fun story.
And Hargis, I'll say that it's a pretty simple history check. You at least know the name of Balthrazodon. He's known as the Guardian of the Dwarves. He is an ancient brass dragon.
Oh boy, that would be really cool to talk to an ancient brass dragon. I bet he's awesome.
And Newt made the claim of being the great-grandson or the grandson of such a being.
That's pretty neat.
Well, I can do this. I'll use my bard's voice. Hail, Balthrazodon! Mighty is your visage, and mighty is your reputation. Greetings from Newt.
Walking faster.
You know how, like, from a far distance, it will show a person and they're yelling, but nobody can hear them. It's just this tiny, like... That's basically what that was.
All right.
So, you guys are some distance
just belittle my bard skills.
You'll have to go down the leaving the diamond. What is it called? Let me pull that up again. What is this inn called? Diamond something. Here we go. The Diamond Hammer. Leaving this inn, which, by the way, you have one more night stay here that was paid for.
Right.
going down and leaving the lobby, this place is fairly elaborate. It is well kept. You go down several stories of stairs, and there's these kind of empty holes that have a pole in them that people go over and they stand on, and then they're lowered down by this floating disc that seems to be wrapped around the pole, and they go up and down it. And you guys use that and descend, very much like an elevator, using the spell called Floating Disc that's somewhat mutated for this purpose. You guys are lowered down to the bottom floor. You then step out into the foyer, and it's as pretty and unique with these gemmed plant life as elsewhere that you've seen already. And there's bustling people. You get a couple odd glances from some of the dwarven, well-dressed and like well-manicured beards and hair and otherwise, and as they kind of look at your kind of ragtag and burnt crew step out
we all just
from this
reek of
very
burnt...
fine place.
Yeah, we just reek of burnt hair. And medicinal
probably
oils.
Have my I probably have the hood of my fur cloak up too, because I'm pretty embarrassed about my hair.
Yeah. You guys
Dakren
look
likes
worse
his
for
hair.
wear. Like if you took a dip in a lava bath for some stupid reason. But
Jasper spiffed himself up as best as he possibly can, knowing he's going to meet Brand's family, and he has, as they approach, he'll turn his cap from green to red and put it on.
So Jasper, for the most part, looks fine, but his walk is really fine.
Yeah. using
which is what draws the attention to you.
Right. Using my bow as a crutch to hobble along.
You're like
yeah, just not.
You're like the army man walk.
Not wanting to bend my knees at all.
Like in Toy Story when he's using his gun to walk along. He's got that odd shuffle.
Yeah.
That's what you look like.
Oh, it's the worst. It's the worst. I feel like a sausage about to pop its wrapper.
And some of the
I can carry if you want. I
some
bad.
of the dwarven ladies are just like behind their fans, and they're just like, hey, "What is that? What are they doing here? How can they afford this place? They must be very talented adventurers, but don't they know they're standing in life?"
No.
Like you hear some odd stuff like that from time to time.
We're not good at it.
Like, and then you hear another one say, "I hear that Harmon is the one that bored them here." Oh, well, that makes sense. That if he wasn't so well accomplished as a person and well loved by the people, I mean, he is quite the good looker, though. I mean, I wouldn't mind, and then you just hear them go off.
Jasper just nods as they go.
Seems when they start talking about Captain Harmon, they're like, "Oh, he's so dreamy as a dwarf, sailing the lava flow." And
yeah, that romantic life on the lava flow.
Yeah.
All right.
Seeing sights that you would never see. Anyways, so yeah, after the jeering view and some other things, other than that, it's a pretty pleasant place. You step out into Jordsgarden. The streets are cobbled, well kept. There seems to be magical torches that are set up every so often, not currently lit. The design of the housing and filigree is very dwarven-esque, but there's very much this panache kind of overlay, and things have been. Oh, if dwarves were more artistic, that's how you imagine this place. Instead of being more practical and stuff that way, the dwarf craftsmanship hasn't just been intricate in design, but more elaborate as well. And it seems somewhat influenced from like plant life and other things. And you do notice maybe hints of elvish design, but transformed enough to where they could say, "No, it's not elvish influenced at all. I don't know what you're talking about."
Right.
Just because they deal with plants doesn't mean we can't. That kind of a thing. But it's a beautiful place. There are occasional travelers. There's you see families that seem to be enjoying just this place. Traveling merchants that just love what they're seeing around. Also, you do notice that there are more elves here. You do see, 1, 2, 5, 10, like in the crowd as you're walking by, and they do stand out because they are taller.
Right.
But you do see humans here. There are quite a few humans, and you can tell the humans are of noble or of a higher merchant kind of status, and they've came here to vacation. It very much has that vacation, a relaxed place to go to. As you get closer to the center of the town, you start noticing people that are in more well-polished and adventuring gear, similar to your own. They seem to be well-manicured, polished male, very prim and proper in their design. And some of them are wearing elaborate weapons that you're like, there's no way you use that in combat. And they seem to be carousing around. Some people are talking with different merchants and that, bodyguards that way. People have a very high status or high quo of fashion, or high fashion here. That's the word I'm looking for. But are you guys making your way to the Ironwood Logging Company?
Yep.
Despite what I just said about elves, I find myself looking at them and admiring them. And then I look at the other guys to make sure they're not looking at me, watching them, but I can't help myself. And
make a deception check. You two. Well, I mean, are you guys even going to pay attention to that? If not, it's going to be a passive insight.
He'll have to roll a natural 1 for Jasper to notice anything.
What's your insight?
My insight is a +0, and my perception.
So it's a 10 normally.
Yeah, my perception's a +0. So.
So if he rolls below a 10, he does not hide this very well, and you notice.
I suppose. Yeah.
What'd you get?
This is stealth.
17.
Stealth or deception, I'll say. You're trying to hide it.
I think stealth. I'm not trying to hide what I'm doing. I'm just trying to act.
Stealthy about it.
Okay.
Pretty high either way though. 18.
Okay, so neither of them seem to have noticed. You don't know if Sarah's nosed or not. You don't know where she's at.
She probably doesn't care about what we're doing at all.
Now, you notice that Sarah was in a finer tunic. It was more frilly and it was like a blue gossamer kind of velvety styled. She was wearing much more high thread count, kind of a black pants and stuff like that. She was dressed up, but in an adventuring sense.
Right.
So you guys definitely look a little
rough. Yeah.
Out of the crowd.
As we're approaching the Ironwood estate, Hargis actually mentioned something when he was talking about promoting the group, and it's something that I've actually been thinking about too since that guy came in talking about us forming a group. So should we have a name for ourselves when we go into this place? Should we have hi, we're the, and have a cool name that we say? I've written down a few that I've been thinking of.
We could have a company name.
That's sort of what I'm thinking of.
Sure.
The four of us, we've been very, focused on caves. We could be the cave crashers, right? We're always just crashing into caves, that sort of thing. The second one that I thought of is the Laugh Squad, which it's an abbreviation, LAF, for the loosely affiliated friend squad. Be the loosely affiliated friend squad. So Laugh Squad or the full thing. So Cave Crashers. Or
I rather
Crushers.
like Cave Crashers.
Cave Crashers, Cave Crushers, one of those maybe. I think obviously the best one, and I think this is the last one, the most pertinent. You save the best for last, right? We could just be the Cricketeers, right? You know, the 4 cricketeers, and
3 and undecided, maybe.
all for one. And
I have no say in this.
I think
I was thinking more along the lines of, and well, maybe this is just because I've run into fire-related injuries twice ever since we've started this mission.
Maybe the burn unit.
But I was thinking something like the Flame Braves or something like that.
The second degree.
Second sons.
Well done.
Evil sons.
So that's my contribution. The Flame Braves or the Flame Bravers. I'm not sure if that, like we brave the flames of
the brave
whatever. I don't know.
Brave flamers. We could take it in another direction.
No.
Right? We could carry torches around.
That's going in the opposite direction. What I'm thinking, and
yeah, we could have torches, and just make the enemies would run in fear when we bravely waved our flames at them, right? I mean, that's something to it there.
What do you think, Hargus?
All right. Oh. Well, I was all settled until you asked.
Brand is sitting there
great
in his jail
companions.
cell just saying, kill me now.
He doesn't know why.
It's like, I have this strange feeling that I'm going to be
losing the will to live.
I'm losing my will to live.
Feel like something terrible is happening.
My ears are burning, and I think they'll burn
it
right off.
It is assaulting my sensibilities a bit.
Right. Well, I feel like Hargus, you've got a mind for story and epic tales and that sort of thing, and you'll be the one primarily responsible for spreading our brand. The hype squad.
And I already mentioned this, but because we went to the pub that never sleeps and conquered it, I thought maybe the Dream Wakers as well was another choice. So those are my 2. You've got the 3. Hargus, what do you think?
Dreamwalker Company. Dreamwalker's pretty cool.
Dreamwakers. Ooh, Dreamwalker is really cool. I like Dreamwalker.
Both good.
All right.
We're nice to meet you, man. We are the Dreamwalkers. How does that sound?
We could be the Dream Boats.
Yeah. Of course, I come from a history of the Black Company, the White Company, the Red Company.
Primary
colors. In the lands to the Great Sea, not around this piddly inland sea, there are some cities that are known for their mercenary companies, and they all have names like the Black Company, the White Company, the Red Company, the Fell Companions.
Sure.
And so,
are you saying we should pick a color and just pick out uniforms and just kind of go with that?
No, I'm just trying to work my way around my sensibility. I really like Dreamwalkers, but I'm not sure it rolls off the tongue.
So the choice is either between cricketeers or, well, I forget. No.
I'm pretty sure that was not one of the options that we all agreed on.
I think Dreamwalkers I can't remember, is the most poetic.
All right. Well, maybe we'll just let it stew about. I guess we'll wait until we talk to Bran. Maybe
let's try it out. I mean, who are Branbrek's parents anyway? It doesn't matter. Like, we're probably not going to see them a while, and if we do, we'll be like, oh, we just changed our name if we change it. But let's try it out. Let's just say we're the Dreamwalkers and see how they react.
Pretty good.
The
Cave Crashers.
Yeah. All right, I'll let you 2 handle it when you get in there.
Been in a lot of caves.
Dream Crashers, the Dream Crushers would be the Dream Crushers, specifically referring to Bran's outlook on life.
Everybody give me some ice. Thank you, baby.
So when his parents say, "Why are you guys known as the Dream Crushers?"
just pointed at their son.
Hey, it just so happens I've been composing a song about it.
Oh gosh. Well,
anyway, let's see how it sounds when we actually tell somebody and see how they react, and we'll just try each of these in turn and see how they react.
As you guys are venturing forth towards the Ironwood Logging Company, there is a place that's inside the city walls that seems to be the home. The home is more simple in design, and you notice that this is one of the houses that actually has normal plant life as well as jeweled plant life. As you get closer to the wall or away from the center district, you're actually in the quartz quarter now, area of the city. And
is this the embassy that we'd seen from?
No, the embassy isn't located too far, though, from the logging company, like a block or two away.
See you, baby. Good night.
Being closer to the edge of the wall, this Branbrek's home, as you come to understand this, seems to be butted up against the wall. It seems to have its own entrance leading out into, from what you saw up above, an outer kind of walkway to the logging home, the actual logging area that's located outside the walls. It's located near one of the gates, so it seems to have easy access of getting outside. Which makes sense. They seem to travel outside the city gate quite a bit. And you do see several dwarves working on various things, and they seem to be taking hammers to these broken down tree trunks. But you notice that they're not turning to stone like what happened when you plucked the flower, so you wonder if there's just some trick or knack to it. But as they're hammering away at it, another one, after he hammers into it and breaks off this large section, another one takes a smaller pick and starts picking at the tree trunk and pulling out these gems of various sizes and stuff like that and throws them into a barrel, and then that barrel is picked up by another helping hand who takes it over to another station. They seem to be harvesting, much like mining a quarry, but these trees that they have been cutting down that you imagine is from that forest out there. Several of them seem to be well armored too. Like, you've seen lumberjacks before, and yeah, they wear tough leathers and stuff like that, and you've heard about wolves' attacks and things that way, but these guys are wearing, like, from breastplate to chainmail to various armaments, and they look like they're prepared for battle as much as anything else. Each of them carries what seems to be a weapon on them, like a maul, which you don't see them using for breaking down the tree. They seem to have a different type of sledge for that doesn't look like it's practical for battle. But some of them carry shields on them as well.
Like they're guarding against raids or theft.
Or maybe they use those to smash trees that are made.
Many of them seem scuffed up, like their battle-worn material that they're wearing.
I think I'd be able to tell the difference with some observation or something.
Huh?
This doesn't look like...
Hi.
Hi. Make a perception check for me.
No.
15?
No.
I guess I have a +1 to perception.
No. No. No.
Oh.
No.
Yeah.
I want the mic.
16.
16?
Yeah.
From your experience in battles and wars from before, you can tell the wear and tear on their armor is not done by normal weapons or what you would imagine by bandits or otherwise. Seems to be more the abrasions and the damage done to the gear, more beast-like maybe, but not something that you recognize beast-wise.
I think in true dwarven fashion, I think they've
Good
declared.
smile.
I think they've declared war on trees, and they're probably fighting the forest, right?
There's obviously something more going on here than what I would imagine.
Death to all trees, I think is the...
But as you proceed up, they have a section that's off the front of the building, and it seems like part of the building doubles as both the company and maybe the living quarters for that. But a few people see you approaching. You kind of stick out, given how you are, but they kind of nod towards you, kind of just acknowledge your presence, but they don't seem bothered by you. Not like how it was up in the main city. And you have started to notice more and more adventurers as you've gone down into the quartz quarter, closer to the wall, further away from the main developed area. You also, pretty sure you've seen one or two guilds as you've been walking through the town that weren't the Valiant Allies, but other guilds that adventurers seem to be coming in and out of. It seems like there may be good money to be made as an adventurer here. If you're not here for vacation, maybe there's good money to be made because of something else. It is seemingly unique. And some of these guys look like they were adventurers at some point and have retired to work, I guess, as lumberers or miners? What are they? But do you guys proceed to go inside into the dorm? Okay.
No, unless y'all want me to satisfy our curiosity and ask them what the armor and scars on their armor is.
If you want to ask them, feel free.
Oh, by the way, crow's wing and raven's wing, or some combination of crows or ravens, would be a good might be a good reference for us because of in two of our adventures we had ravens. At least one of them, we had a raven or a crow following us the whole time.
Let's think.
It sounds really,
we could be
really dangerous.
We're so raven, right? Is that?
Oh, I wish you hadn't done that.
We could be.
Jasper will ruin anything you give him. So beware.
Doesn't have crickets.
I was just thinking about the war crow.
Well, yeah.
And the reference to Big Kotha.
And I wouldn't have it any other way because he's a gnome, and that just is what is cool to a gnome. Like, just think stuff like that is cool.
Yeah.
And the humans are trying to be all epic and stuff.
I can go eat some crickets.
Wow.
Oh, man. Oh, yeah. Did we eat cricket cakes before we left the
I didn't.
hospital
I
thing?
didn't.
Yeah, no, I think, in the room and everything, this would be the first time that I didn't have kind of the stuff on hand, like, skillet, and I guess I could have busted out our mess kit and everything, but with him being all stiff, he wouldn't want to squat down next to the fire like he normally does, so I'd say...
Okay, good to know. I'll take that bonus off for today.
Yeah.
Well, there's a silver lining.
Okay.
Are there any elf adventurers walking around?
There is. Maybe it's because you're closer to the embassy, but there's a good mix between dwarf and elves here. You do occasionally see maybe one or two dwarves that have a shorter beard style that's similar to Brand's. Not quite to the same extent, but similar. Like there's one that has just the tough, like a goatee, but the beard is longer and it's 2 tassels, but the sides are shaved, or at least he doesn't have hair across here, but he has the normal mane of hair. And he has ringlets in it, or rings in it, not ringlets. Ringlet beard. Oh wow. Oh hi.
Oh, Mediterranean.
That fellow's already.
My mouth starts to say Branbrek, and then I catch myself. I'm like, oh wait, it's not him.
Yeah. One thing distinctively different is most of these are mountain dwarves, and they have a paler or grayish toned skin. You haven't seen anybody that had the same skin tone as Branbrek before, or that blonde hairstyle. So, that seems to have been less common here. You did see them in Volkstad, that more golden dwarf styled of skin tone, the tan and the darker features with the blonde hair. But here seems to be more mountain dwarf style. One of the elven adventurers there, it's another male elf adventurer. He seems to be examining the craftsmanship, and he's taking a chisel and chiseling into one of the jewels. That a dwarf has recently handed in. Dwarf hands it over to him, and they kind of go back and forth, and they've been chiseling and designing this piece of artwork that they seem to be crafting, which you now recognize as one of the. Well, actually, make a religion check, each of you. See if any of you recognize what figure the iconography that they're carving right now out of the jewel.
3.
3? Nope. Looks like a thing.
I'm not even looking. I'm looking at the elves.
14.
Hey. Only one
14?
with a chance.
Okay. So you don't recognize this, but it seems to be you've heard of a story of 3 sisters. You're not entirely certain, but they seem to be crafting a female that's larger, a younger female, and then a kind of a kid, kind of in a various depiction. They seem mostly humanoid. It's hard to tell what race they may be. They're in the early stages of having crafted them, where one is hiding behind the other, and the other one is running around the feet.
The mother. Is it the crone, the maiden, and the mother kind of scenario?
No. They look closer in age to each other, and they look on the younger spectrum. But you do notice that the iconography that he's been working on another piece is a symbol of the Dawnfather. So, which is kind of a rising sun on it. But he's working on this piece of jewelry that is white. You think it might be quartz. You're not sure. But he seems to be working on this piece. The elf kind of looks up at you guys. He's like, "Well, you're motley sort. What can I do for you?"
Oh, guys!
Kind of busy at work. Are you here to purchase something?
Guys, that's it. The motley sort. There's a perfect group name. We just be the motley sort. No,
all right.
All right. No. All right, never mind.
Talk about it later.
All right, sorry.
He's kind of looking at you somewhat bewildered, and then the dwarf next to him goes, "Oi, what are you doing?" And he looks at, "Oh, I'm gonna have to start over now." He was so perturbed by what you just did that he accidentally nicked the piece of you.
Oh no! Wow.
And he goes, he's kind of flustered now. He's like, look,
So sorry to distract you.
If you want to talk to the Ironwoods, if you're looking for work, just go inside the main office there. You'll probably find one of them inside. Just you're kind of interrupting our work. If you don't mind, and he kind of gestures inside. And he's like, you'll find Orsrik or Fala inside. Just go and find them. And then he starts complaining to his dwarf friend. He's like, they caught me off guard. What am I supposed to do now with this? Like, what can we turn it into? He's like, well, maybe we could just make it one or the other. And they start talking. So do you guys step inside?
Yeah, no, let's sit on in.
Yeah. Going inside, immediately you see this female dwarven woman, seems to be of an older age, kind of going about from different station to station. They seem to, you seem to be in a quarry, like in the room in a quarry where they sort a lot of the goods, the different ores and stuff like that, and prepare them for processing and stuff that way. And she's running around from station to station, checking on people. And there's this other room that seems to house wounded people, some of the wounded workers, and they're going in and treating them from time to time. And she's been hustling and bustling about. You also notice that there's 2 guards that seem to be stationed on the inside that seem to be keeping a keen eye on her, and just seem to be stationed there. they very much seem out of place because they have very similar semblance to the Royal Guard dwarves that you saw when you were first entering Volkstead, and you haven't seen many of them, so it seems very out of place to have them both on the inside here, and they seem to be paying attention to this dwarf woman who's just running around. And eventually you hear one of the people call out, and she seems to respond, is Foila. Anyway, she's running around. She has long reddish hair. She's plump on a dwarven side, and kind of running around. It's like, oh dearie, let's take care of that over there. And she doesn't seem phased by the amount of work that she's doing, running back and forth. Pale skin, kind of reminiscent of a mountain dwarf, and just running back and forth. She eventually notices you guys come in, and she goes, "Oh, just a moment. I'll be right with you. Are you customers, entrepreneurs? What are you? Anyways, I'll be with you in a moment."
Friends of the family.
Another spot. You say friends of the family, and she immediately drops something that she's handling. She goes, "What? Just a moment." And then eventually comes over, pats off her apron that she has, and she's like, "Right, friends of the family, who are you?" She starts looking at you over, and then she goes...
Jasper looks to Dakren, and to Hargus looks back and forth.
She's like, "You wouldn't happen to be friends of Branbrek, would you?"
Yes.
Branny.
Branny. Oh, that is delightful. Thank you. Oh, ma'am, what is your name? I'm sorry, Foila, was it?
Yeah, Foila Ironwood.
Foila.
I'm Branny's mother. Branbrek's mother. He might not like it if you hear that from me.
I owe you a debt that I'm. Anyway, yes, we're
the Branny company now, aren't we?
Yep, the Branny boys. Branny's boys.
You know how you prep stuff and you don't think about the consequences of what you make until they hit the fan?
He's not here to naysay us, so...
Oh boy, I
in physical form.
I wouldn't mind being Foila's boys either, to be honest with you.
Yeah, that sounds pretty good.
Foila,
we can be Grandma's boys.
All right, yeah.
Granny boys.
Right. Let me prep you some tea or something.
Keep my head in the game. Keep my head in the game. All right.
Or do you prefer brandy, tea? I've got both. It looks like you have some. Would you prefer water? Or strong ale? Come with me, follow me. And she leads you eventually through the room, and you eventually enter what looks like a normal home. Somewhat more embellished, but it looks like all the embellishments are relatively new. And the second she starts following you, or guiding you towards the back, you hear and she goes, "Oh, I'm just going into the home, right? That's fine, right?" Gesturing towards the two guards that were posted. And they go, "Right, as you will," and nods to the other one, and he follows along and starts walking down.
Well, keep an eye on her, soldier.
And then he leads the way for her going into this next room. And eventually, you guys are led into what was probably Bran's home for a time.
Branny.
And loosening my sword and sheath.
For a dwarven home, it's got higher ceilings meant to accommodate, taller people, but all the furniture is very dwarvish in make. But she goes and opens a closet and pulls out some stools and for you guys to sit on that are more appropriate for Hargus and Dakren's height. She pulls out a table as well that's of appropriate height, puts it up, and then climbs up onto a chair that seems associated for her height, for sitting at a high table, and pulls out a chair for you. Yes, basically. And pulls out a chair for you as well, Jasper, and then they sit down.
Climb up a little ladder to get on top.
Anything that you want?
Whatever you recommend on
wouldn't mind something cold, a cold ale perhaps.
Ale? Understood.
We've been a little overheated lately, and
nothing
cool us off nicely.
Overheated.
What's Branny's favorite beverage that you make? What was Branny's favorite growing up?
Well, his favorite used to be the fire brew, but he hasn't touched it for a long time. It's a strong dwarven drink. It's a very traditional drink.
I'm abstaining from fire.
Do you want to try that?
No, I'm abstaining from fire based beverages myself for the time being.
Got a little too close and got burned at some point.
Yes.
Oh, sorry.
I'm sure you can smell it.
No offense. She gestures to the other two. She can't see your wounds. She just knows you walk funny.
Yeah. I know it's just water or something for now. It'll be fine.
All right. Anything for you, dearie?
Argus.
Who is she looking at when she says dearie?
I'm fine, dear lady. We just came to, we were here in the city and we wanted to come by and check on Branbrek and make a what would you call it? Make a call while we were in the city.
I call him Branny.
Oh,
yes, we represent the Valiant Allies Guild, which he's a member, and he's helped us out quite a bit in that guild. Do you know the whereabouts of your son right now? Have you heard?
Your friends of Brands?
Mm-hmm. We're fellow guild mates of his,
but
co-workers, I guess.
That. We've saved each other's
I was hoping
skins.
Maybe you would know more. Currently, unfortunately, as she glares over at the dwarven guard, and he just kind of shrugs a bit. Me and my husband have been put under house arrest for our own protection, for Branbrek supposedly being in league with some kind of usurping of the king's throne. However, that's impossible. He's been going on business trip for so long. I don't know how he would be possibly associated with that. It's false accusations, in my opinion. And then she glares over at the guard and he says, I have no opinion on this, ma'am. You know our job. We're just here to protect you, but also to make sure that you're not in, also to vindicate any kind of association with stuff. So, you know the rules. We're here for your protection as much as for confirmation. And she goes, I can't believe they would blame him about such things. Sure, he may take after his father a little bit, but his father and the king were drinking buddies. Well, the king was a prince. He knows our family. He knows that we're loyal. I can't imagine that this would have reached his ears and he would just idly sit by. It must be work of some of those people that are so jealous of my son's accomplishments during the war, bringing our family a noble title and name and elevating us to that status. Personally, I'd rather stay as the family that we've always been. And she rambles on for a bit more, and then she goes, "Oh, I'm sorry. Old times. Anyways, it's been harder lately, not being able to travel out and help out as much as I used to because of this situation. But supposedly he's gotten himself in a bit of trouble. He was always one to kind of stick it to the nobles, but he's acted so differently than he used to. I wonder if his friend Ivan has got anything to do with it. Ever since they traveled to the forest and then came back that fateful day, he's acted different."
Ivan, is it?
Ivasan.
You don't?
He's an elven friend of...
You remember how we met, Branbrek?
Yes. Well, which meeting?
I would hate to think it's related to the first time we met Branbrek.
Where we all sort of woke up not feeling quite ourselves meeting, or the one before that,
yes.
Where we all got hired to go do the job?
That's
how long ago was this fateful day you speak of?
Oh, I want to say it was 15 years ago.
That's a long time.
When he was just... Yeah, ever since then, Ivan's been in a coma or been something that way. Supposedly, he recently woke up, which is interesting. When Bran found out about that, supposedly he wrote some kind of letter, but I assume Bran never found out until just now that his friend had woken up. He'd been such a diligent boy about it all too, so it's odd about what's going on. I don't know. There's been a lot of odd circumstances lately. Sorry, I'm not up to date on everything. Maybe Orsrik could tell you more.
Orsrik?
My husband.
Right. Orsrik.
Let me go fetch him.
That's almost the name of old Orsrik, the janitor at the guild. Wonder if it's a common. Well, Orsky. It's a little different, but wonder if it's
Orsrik,
common dwarven variation or something.
I just really like.
Which reminds me, did he ever mention what clan he's from?
Orsrik?
That'd be interesting to know. Old Orsik's story.
I didn't hear. You know, he was not a talker. I tried actually to sort of. You know,
they might have been born from the same age. Orsrik was a very common name. We've technically my husband's name is Orsrik, but we call him Orsky because I don't know. He went by that for a long time. He teases me about bringing up that name all the time, and then she goes off and calls out his name, Orsky, where are you? And he says, "Darn it, woman, don't call me by that. It makes me sound like your pet or something."
Orsrik.
Eventually, coming around the corner is kind of a if you could see a dwarven gymnast, this is what it would look like. He seems well built and lithe, much like how Bran is, but light on his step. Most dwarves have a hunkering kind of walk to him, but he has a very graceful and kind of silent walk to him, almost like naturally quiet. As he walks in, you notice that he is carrying dual blades, much like how Bran does. However, there's a distinct difference between the two. He has a big black full beard and white kind of Great Mountains dwarf skin. Bran doesn't look anything like his parents. He doesn't look like either of them.
Because he has like golden hair, right?
Because yes, he has golden hair and dark skin and kind of a gray cobalt eyes, whereas his mother is redheaded with blue eyes and pale skin, and his father is pale skin with dark eyes and dark hair. Bran resembles them in no way of their eyes or hair color or skin tone.
Interesting. Mr. Ironwood, a pleasure to meet you.
Right. I hear you that you've had dealings with my son.
Yeah, we're associated loosely. We're the Bran Flakes. We kind of traveled with him together. We were hoping.
I'm sorry. I feel like I heard something odd there, but
we were trying to just kind of get a little more information about what you knew about Branny's location and his well-being, sort of why he was in prison. We hear now apparently it's
that's what I would like to know.
treason.
Supposedly he's not part of an insurrection or something of helping out with some kind of usurping of our king, which is foolhardy. I mean, he's a fan of the king.
Right.
I don't see how he would do that. And me and King Rurik go back.
That's right.
Back.
Yes.
I don't know. 150 years ago, we used to be drinking buddies for a long time. We keep in touch from time to time, but that's when he was a prince. He could have changed since then, but he still knows me by name. I've still received invitations, though I, for better or for worse, for social standing, have politely declined them. I'm sure that he gives me an earful about that from time to time, but now that I am of nobility as well, due to my son's exploits, I assume I could accept such things, but that hasn't come without problems. As you might foresee. Personally, if I had any say in this matter, I'm pretty sure it's one of the noble families that has been disgruntled about us with acquiring nobility, especially whereas the Ironwoods have had affiliations with the elves for a long time. There's plenty of people here. The Firebeards aren't a big fan of us due to certain stances on monsters and things that way. I just call them a different race. We have hobgoblin friends. They help us out in the forests. We have some good foresters that are hobgoblins. And then you have the Stoneborns, who are offended at the fact that we have such close elven ties. We have a bone to pick with pretty much every noble, it feels like. So we're on a bit of a disadvantage situation.
Right.
So I wouldn't be surprised if one of them, not to mention that I had my youth, that may have turned a noble bit on the wrong side or rubbed them the wrong way. More than adequate, and Bran has inherited more than enough of my skills that way. But tell me about yourselves a little bit. What is this? He had mentioned some of you in your letter. I believe you must be Dakren, and you must be Jasper, the cricket eater, and that over there must be Hargis, who apparently is very talented with a tart and feather.
He will do things with a tart and feather that I can't even say. I mean, you'll be talking to your friends.
I'm not sure I ever want to know. It's kind of like nightmare fuel from what Branbrek described.
Well, that was the other bits in there, I think. But we were just trying to kind of figure out how to go about helping out. I mean, so they haven't let you see Bran then? Or talk to him?
No, we haven't heard word of him. The last we heard of was that he was in town that way. We got notification when these gentlemen showed up. At that point, the guard goes, Orsrik, you know what I'm doing. He's like, yeah, I know, but you also know what I'm doing. And he goes, right you are, but that doesn't mean that we shouldn't investigate thoroughly, and you know as well that I'm here to mainly protect you. He says, right. Whatever. Stickler as always. Can't believe they still kept you in the regiment this way, you young pup. And he goes, just because you mentored me doesn't mean I don't respect you. Please respect me. Obviously, he has some history with these guards.
What's with the security with everybody? Is it related to the same thing?
Yeah.
They're here because we're under house arrest, mainly. That's what their front is. But they're also here to protect us in case we're acclaimed to have done anything untowards the king. So there are eyes and ears and confidants that way. So they are basically his way of ensuring our testimonies that we're not associated with our son or the plans that way. And we have shown no signs of such since then. Honestly, you being here would probably be the most indicative of that. If you ever did anything untowards and started affiliating with the wrong crowd, and we started talking with you quite often, then that would interfere with us as well. But on that note, it's that's kind of where we're at. We would love to know more about Bran ourselves. I assume that he's going to have a trial at some point, whether to convict him of said crimes or otherwise, and we've been looking into it ourselves. But there's only so much we can do when we're placed under house arrest. Plus, there's the current feud going on. Honestly, if that gets taken care of, that would probably be the best help. But speaking of which, what are you guys doing here for, anyways?
What are we doing here?
Yes. What brings you here? I assume that you might be friends of my son, but I can't imagine that having dragged you all the way out here to Jordsgarden. It's kind of an out-of-the-way place.
That's the only...
It doesn't seem like you're here for vacationing. At least you're not dressed for it. No offense.
If Branny wasn't here, his boys wouldn't have come. I'll put it that way. So, no, we're here.
He looks over at his wife, at the noted Branny, and he goes, you need to stop giving us nicknames. He's like, oh, Orsi, I don't see what the problem is. I swear that you're still bitter about that campaign.
As you may know, we joined a guild.
Yeah, the Valiant Allies, if I recall
burgeoning
correctly.
guild, right? And we were requested by them to come here and try to establish a hall here to represent the guild.
So I imagine you're here to try and represent one of the two families that are vying for that ambassador position, huh? Yeah, we might have a use for you then. If you could get one of those families to help us out with our issue with our son, then perhaps we can help you guys out as well. That would be beneficial.
Well, do you have an opinion about the two families?
Both have their pros and cons. We have a bit of a gripe with both of them. Though, if your judgment is such of choosing one, I assume you know my son well enough, and if you have his interests at heart, then I'd be more than willing to support whichever side that you choose.
All right.
We have a bit of an issue with both of them because we have particularities that we deal with that either side disagrees with. So we might have to give that up in order to side with one or the other, but
yeah.
They both have their benefits. They're both good people, but they have their drawbacks. The Stoneborns are very traditionalists, and they still have a grudge from the wars way back when between the elves and us. Though that was before my time. It was before my father's time. It was before my grandfather's time. Like, that's been so long gone, it seems foolish. They're just stubborn. But they're Stoneborn for a reason. They are unmoving in their ways, and they tend to be that way. But they're good people. They do good work. They've been well established for a long time. They have many of their trade routes established. They have a good income, and they're a great ally to have. And they don't look down necessarily on the hobgoblins and goblins and others, as long as they serve their uses and purposes. Firebeards are a relatively newer family that I think they're only like 8-10 generations old as nobility, so they're fairly well-to-do. They've been good at negotiations and diplomatic trades. They've established many of our now standing peace agreements, and they have a history with them being ambassadors. That shows in their connections and their network that way. They're a big fan of elves, but they hate monstrous races, which is one of their, quote, standing points against the Stoneborns. The Elven Embassy likes them a lot because they've done a lot to improve their trade and agreement and exchange of resources between the Elven nation that lies to the east of us and the human nation that lies on the other side of the mountain. Typically, those two can't interact with each other, and it promotes a unique items to be manufactured and made. I imagine that we'd be able to produce even more wondrous inventions and achievements if we maintained those relations rather than cut them off or stagnated them. But, I mean, like I said, both have pros and cons. Just because you went with one doesn't mean you're completely ousted from the other's events. It's just that they have certain benefits to working with them. But they also have certain disadvantages that would come with them. Well, either way,
I can't think of any pertinent questions. The main thing is we wanted to get a better understanding of what Branbrek's situation was and to meet his family. We have a deep respect for Branbrek.
He's to be put on trial about 3 weeks from now. We've been doing our own bit of investigation. I have some people working that are looking into his situation. We don't know why he's been put in incarcerated, but it looks like at the very least we could probably get him out on probation. It may put a bit of a sully on the noble name that he's recently acquired. But should we be completely free of these charges, then it becomes a boon for us in a way, because it makes us less likely to be accused of anything in the future, as we have been found not guilty and free of charge. So that gives us a bit more of a firm foot if that can happen. But without some kind of support from other noble families as well, that would be quite difficult.
Where's he being held?
He's currently in Volkstead. As far as I'm aware, he is.
Oh.
He's in the prisons there.
Oh, he's in Volkstead. Oh. Well, we just passed him then. I suppose you've sent messages to your old buddy, the king, just to sort of like put out feelers to see if, he's...
I haven't gotten any response or anything that way. As far as I know, my messages are being blocked. As he glances over the guard, and he doesn't move.
Really? Are you guys not delivering his mail?
That's not their job.
Well, wait, are they...
Well, would you like to
Is it their
send
job
any
to block
missives
your
with us?
mail? Are you guys blocking?
No, they're just here to watch and to observe and to tell truthfully when put under the spell's effects, to reveal any information that they have observed while working their job here.
Right. So they're not stealing your mail. I thought that was they're stealing my mail side-eye sort of glance. Is that not what you were going for?
No, I don't think those two are stealing my mail at all.
Oh. Insight check. Does he think those guys are stealing his mail? I don't know what to believe.
Roll an insight check.
Oh, it's not terrible. It's not great. 14.
Hard to read.
Yeah.
You know that there's hidden meanings in his message?
Yeah. We're both missing it. Jasper and...
He does seem to be trusting of these two individuals.
Okay.
Do you have any missives you'd like to send with us?
Something's afoot.
Right.
You get the idea that he thinks something's afoot, but he is carefully stepping around the information he's giving you, because he does know that these two have to report and are forced to under magical means to give a truthful account of anything they hear or see. So he's being careful.
Gotcha.
That's as much as he can tell. But you don't know what his hidden meaning is.
Gotcha. All right.
Do you have any missives you'd like to try to send with us?
Sorry, what was that, Hargis?
Do you have any missives you'd like to try to send with us?
I mean, if you guys are going to see Brand at some point, just let him know that he better not muck up again. And that he better do a good job and represent us well. After all, he's always been a good kid. Changed a few years ago, but he's acted more or less the same. Him and Ivan spent a lot of time around each other, so maybe he's just rubbed off on him, or maybe something that way. After all, they've been best friends for, 30-some-odd years? 40 years? So...
Well, but Ivan's been in a coma for 15 years, right? And he just woke up? Is that what I heard?
Yeah, prior to that. I mean, sure, they've probably be fast friends, but
sure.
I only recently found out about it about, I don't know, 2 or 3 weeks ago that Ivan woke up. And I don't think Bran had heard about that yet. I imagine that if he's heard it now that he's in prison, so I can't imagine what that's about.
Do we know where he is, Ivan?
Ivan?
Sounds significant.
Ivan's, Ivasaur's in the Elven Nation, down to the east. Right. Be a couple days travel from here. He's in one of the local towns there, known as Bloomvine, I think is what it's called, or the Ice Blossom.
Is Ivan himself an elf?
Ivan is an elf. He's a full-blood high elf.
Okay.
They've been. We work in. The place that's actually referred to as Jordsgarden originally is that, and he gestures in the direction out a window at the city wall. And on the other side of that wall is that forest. He's like, that place has a strange magical essence to it. We break down and chop down these trees both to deforest and keep it under control and spreading too far as part of our old agreement between us and the elves. Supposedly that used to be a nation that was between us and the Elven Kingdom. That was a good mingling place. Some calamity happened a long time ago, and, well, now it's like this. If you step too far into the mist, you'll run into very monstrous beasts, ancient constructs that were of some made of that kingdom, or otherwise. Suppose there's horrors that lurk there. The problem with it is that supposedly somewhere in that mist there's a legend of the old castle. If you manage to get into that and destroy the source, you'd be able to return Jordsgarden back to its former glory and more of its natural state.
There's not an elf named Elric running around in that mist, is there?
I don't recognize that name.
Oh, thank God. Stormbringer! Oh, okay. I'm good. I feel safe now.
I don't think I've heard that ballad, Argus. You'll have to tell it to the next pub we go to.
Ballad? Nightmare!
I'm no lore person. If you want lore and fanciful tales, you should go to the Thunder Hammer, Thunder Fortune, wherever. Fenla, Stoneborn, Fonla, I can't think of her name. Resides. She offed from her family in the Stoneborns because she got seduced by a dwarven bard, who went on fantastical adventures, and she was wooed to be his wife. They got married. They started up a shop. Fantastic story, and then he passed away. She's kept the shop running ever since to keep up his legacy of music and tradition. He was a pretty famous bard at the time. He passed away some time ago. She hasn't remarried since, and she's relatively old now. She's older than me. I remember growing up hearing about her, but she's well-to-do. She's made a name for herself, and even though she has, quote, been ousted by the Stoneborns, they can't ignore her opinion. She is still noble, and she is still here to stay, and she's a great lover of music and dance. Her establishment is as such. Though it's a tavern and an inn, most people go there to drink, be merry, and watch the performances.
Well, sounds like your kind of place, Argus.
It does.
Don't make a
give me
fool of
something to
yourself
do.
there. I'll warn you that much. You'll be a laughingstock for the rest of your life.
Well, if it's any consolation, we make a fool of ourselves wherever we
that
go.
was-
So,
Well, in that case, don't make yourself a fool there. You'll find yourself hard pressed to be acknowledged anywhere if you make a fool of yourself there.
doesn't sound as fun when you say it that way.
Just saying, most people go there to be entertained.
I mainly reserve that for dancing.
If you're successful there, if you're a successful person and your name gets known from that place, you'll be known in a lot of places throughout the land. Put it simply. But personally, not worth my risk or my time. If you wanted to travel a couple days' journey down to Ice Blossom, the town that Ivan stays in, it's on the border. It's similar to here as Jordsgarden, but it's further south from here, southeast about. You could probably see Ivan there, and his fiance. She must be ecstatic now. We haven't seen either of them in a long time.
He had a
I bet Brad would
fiancée.
be. Ivan, yes.
She stuck with him for 15 years of coma.
I mean, they're elves.
Wow, well, but still, 15 years is 15. That's pretty good.
Talking about the old ball and chain.
I mean, it's like
Yeah,
manacle. It's like not even clasped yet.
It was an arranged marriage that they both enjoyed and wanted. And she is, they're childhood friends of Bran. They've known each other for a long time. Bran had been apparently saving up money and doing research to try and bring his friend back from his coma and kept in contact with her as well.
What's the
as far as
fiance's
I
name?
know.
Do you know offhand?
Eleanor.
Eleanor.
Yes. Though she goes by Edalie most often.
Edalie.
And you mentioned that this town he lives in is called Bloomvine or Ice Blossom?
I think Bloomvine's the capital, and Ice Blossom is where they're from. It's kind of it's a forest area, but it's kind of in a cold pocket of the mountains, so it tends to get snow.
No, baby. Have you?
It's just south of here. Mm-hmm. It's on the border between, the Dwarven, where the Dwarven border and their border is. That forest, Jordsgarden, or known as Dead Man's Hollow, has traditionally sensed. It's only been known as Jordsgarden in the more recent couple decades, as the town has decided to claim that as the garden that Jord has formed, and kind of trying to hide its dark history that way. It's apparently the war spot, the result of some calamity that happened in a disagreement between elves and dwarves. But it also was a place, supposedly in some records, where dwarves and elves lived together. So,
right.
Who knows? It's before my time. I'm not a historian that way. Sure. All I know is
like a future quest.
All I know is it's a magical land that seems to be infused with some kind of cataclysmic magic, which causes these things. And he gestures to the gem-like plants. It says, there's strange beasts that roam that land, constructs and otherwise. We might be, quote, lumberjacks. We typically mine them because there's anything you mine from that location, deep in that forest, is a true gem. Like, you can actually get gems out of it. But it's dangerous work. There's monsters that roam it, and just monstrosities and aberrations, as well as constructs and things that have been transformed in the land. See what looks like a normal dog, but is made of stone and metal. It's strange land. So you have to come prepared. We hire plenty of adventurers, and many adventurers try to make their name out there, but it's interesting. Currently, there's been a lot of attempt to reproduce the effects of that magic here in Jordsgarden. You see a lot of its effect around the plant life here. But unfortunately, while out there, we can chop down the trees and they grow back. They seem to be petrified wood for the most part, but they act organically.
What folly?
What?
What folly?
Which bit? Trying to replicate the process?
Replicate the process, yeah. Sounds like hubris.
There's been attempts at transplanting. There's been attempts at transplanting the plants here, and while they can be planted, after you try to pluck them or take them out or harvest them, they turn to normal stone and dust, almost inconsequential and useless. It's like clay or a chalk at that point. However, if you take it root and all, you can transplant it and its beauty holds, but it needs nourishment, both magical and normal nutrients. But certain diseases that happened while during this process and other things like that, most of the clerics have been able to take care of that, but there's certain rots that still seem to affect people. Despite the danger, people still take it. So, whatever. There's been disagreements in the past between the elves and the dwarves on whether or not to harvest it for its mineral bounty or to return it back to its natural stead, as it's unnatural in the elves' opinion, but they appreciate its beauty. There's divisions both in the dwarven and the elven nation regarding what to do with that land. Currently, we harvest it, but because it does have many benefits to having access to magical jewels and jewelry made from it.
Sure.
But it's dangerous work.
Right. All right.
Anyway, I must get going. If you guys want to come back again, it's been a pleasure meeting you. You may want to work on those names, though, for your guild.
I don't know. I think Valiant Allies has
Raven's
a pretty
Wing.
nice ring to it. It sounds good. I don't think there's
Sorry, I
anything.
meant
I like
for your
Valiant
adventuring
Allies.
party. Flakes would probably make him throw up. So.
Well, no, that's the thing about Bran, is that it keeps you nice and regular. Oh, there we go. Nice and regular. The regular boys. We could be, because we have so much Bran in our lives. We're really regular.
His wife chuckles, but he just gives
Don't
you
leave that one alone.
a low shake, like, well, Bran, what have you been doing? Didn't I tell you to come properly? And he's like, whatever, boy, I'm going to have a talk to you in more than one way when you get back. And he stops off to get back to work.
Bye,
and
Orsrik.
You know, some of their guard following him back there. But with that, that's the Ironwood Trading Company, logging company.
Dakren?
Well, ma'am, we don't want to take any more of your time. We can personally vouch that Branbrek was not... He's been in Hardale with us, starting a branch of your business, we can assume, but we heavily doubt that it has anything to do with something against the Dwarven Nation.
I'm sure my son would have never done anything underhanded or untoward towards the Dwarven Nation. Or the Elven Nation. Or most nations. He may skirt the line and do things in a roundabout way from time to time, but he's a good man at heart.
We have to keep her off of the stand by any means necessary. Keep that woman away from the stand.
Well then, Jappy, I'll catch you later. Take care of yourself now.
Thanks, Mum. Appreciate it. All right. Anything?
And Darren, take care of yourself.
Darren. I think that's you, Dakren.
Darren.
Huggy, Huggy, take care of yourself.
Oh, Huggy. Oh, my little Huggy. Oh, it's a good one. That's you.
All right. Well, we must be going. Goodbye, ma'am. Thanks for the cool ale.
And the aliases. Now we finally got cool adventuring names now. Before we were, I don't know.
What did we settle on?
I think we got Jappy, Hoggy, and Darren as our nom de guerre, and we go forth now. Yes.
I'm glad I wasn't very talkative.
All right. Well,
sure after how she came up with those names.
What do you think, Dakren? Are you still thinking going with the Stoneborn? You want to stick with them?
Yeah, I mean, they didn't change my opinion at all. Although, I guess they did bring up that I don't know, it just seems safer to me. I mean, they've been around for a while. I don't know. They seem a little bit more secure. Yeah, that sort of thing. I mean, who knows? The Firebeards have only... I mean, it seems like a long time in my
10 generations
human years or whatever, non-dwarf years or whatever, but who knows? That might be unstable. I don't know.
No.
So that's my vote, but I'll go with the majority. So I vote Stoneborns. What about you two?
Argus?
I'm fine with that.
Three of us, so there won't be a tie. There won't be a tie.
Kind of like you, none of them have really marked themselves dramatically more than the other.
All right.
And I mean, all we can do is approach one and see.
And you know what? Let's be frank. Let's be fair. You know, we've had bad luck with fire recently. We've been talking this whole day about staying away from fire. So maybe that's a sign. We should go with Dakren's.
Maybe that's what's turning me up to the idea of the Firebeards. I'm tired of fire right now. I had all my hair burned off. All of it burned off. At least I have a little now from that explosion. But I was engulfed in flames. I wish I knew where that was who magically grew it back. I really want to know how she had that power, but Maybe there's somebody around here who has that as well. Anyway, I'm just tired of fire, and so yeah, maybe that's kind of making me lean away from the Firebeards. For now, that's what I think. Maybe the Stoneborns, and we can always change. I mean, if they turn out to be rotters, then we can.
All right, let's give it a go. We can go visit with them. Boy, it's too bad that Ivan is 2 days south of here. That sure is weird. That he goes into the forest, comes out with his friend in a coma, and has a big change in personality, and then gets arrested near the time that his friend wakes up from the coma. That's a weird coincidence, right? I mean, that's...
Yep. At least with our experience, it definitely is.
Let's
coincidence. So.
Let's focus on the
what do we do about
task at hand with the guild. But once we get Branbrek back with us, I'm sure he'd like to go there and meet with Ivan as well, and wouldn't mind seeing the elven lands too.
Well,
I don't know.
I mean, I think we can all agree that Bran is definitely in love with that elven woman that we talked about down there. What was her name? Eleanor or Edalie. So that's probably, there's like a love triangle there.
Ivan's fiance.
What?
Yeah,
What?
Ivan's fiance. Yeah, there's a love triangle there.
I think the jump to conclusions, but I don't know.
Hop, skip, and a jump, but here we are. We've known from the beginning that Branny's in love with an elf, or at least has an elf family, and now
I'm sure there's more than just his best friend's fiance, though. There's probably at least a couple more female elves over there.
Yeah,
I mean, I've seen a few on the way here.
It doesn't matter.
Elf maids just make me want to make a sandwich for them. They don't really incite romance for me.
I haven't spoken with a good many. I guess we'll see. Maybe one of these days. But yeah, I imagine we'll have some sort of long-term sort of engagements with these stones.
Also, make a perception, or Dakren, make a perception check.
Ooh.
10.
Okay.
Or 12 if you're going by passive as the minimum.
Okay.
No. All right. Well, I guess let's go to the Stoneborns. Where's Seere?
We haven't seen her.
She knew we were coming here, and
to the town hall where Grimbeard was. Howlin Grimbeard. That's where she is.
Well,
that's the judge.
We're going to be walking.
And Grimbeard. Yeah. Who's Grimbeard again?
He's the judge fellow.
Can I attune myself?
He's the overseer. He's the judge of the whole ambassador thing.
Okay, well, let's go there then. Yeah. I think they'd be able to tell us where to go next, and
that sounds good.
And I'm gonna look for a temple on the way back. Just see if see if there's any temples or shrines on the way back.
I'll tell you why exactly. You don't let monkeys jump on the bed.
I mean, on the way back, first off, in the courts quarter,
poop, right.
Where you guys are right now,
because of the poop.
Mm-hmm. Hey, what was the name of that inn he was referring to?
Even though it's called the courts quarter,
Thunderforge.
This is elaborate. This is a well-done district. It's still clean and everything that way. It's still beautiful.
Nice.
It's a part of the city's kind of modus operandi is that they are a vacation spot. So they've made every place pretty spick and span and beautiful looking. But there are definitely distinct differences between some of the districts. The courts quarter being the more lower end where all the adventurers tend to reside and more the manufacturing works or anything that's business or industrial of the city. That's not the tourist spot. And in the courts quarter, you also see a shrine to a temple enshrined to the Dawnfather, along with what seems to be a miniature shrine of make a religion check for me, each of you.
Oh, natural 20. Wow.
11.
Okay. You now realize, Jasper. Oh gosh, 1. Jasper, you now realize what that carving was that they were doing earlier.
Ah.
You've heard of the reference to the 3 moons that circle Amara, the world that. And the moons are known as the 3 daughters of the Dawnfather.
Nice.
There is a minor shrine to them that's butted up against the Dawnfather temple here. It's typically understood that they're not deities unto themselves, but they are associated with the Dawnfather, and they rule over the night sky meant to share. With that natural 20, let me pull up this and read that info for you really quick.
Were those crescent moons in the symbol then? 3 crescent moons artfully arrayed, or how are they? 3 full moons artfully arrayed, or how are they kind of in the symbol? Just if it's one or the other.
Well,
so it's actually the Dawnfather, and then it's like you have the rising sun symbol.
Uh-huh.
But for the 3 sisters, it is basically 3 circles, one with one slightly behind the other, and then a smaller circle that's down in the corner. So
a partial eclipse and then an independent circle then.
Yeah, that's much smaller.
In front of
and
the Dawnfather.
Is there any magical mythos with one of the moons?
That's being overshadowed by it, and then a tiny circle in the bottom corner. And this is what you hear. The first, the largest moon is known as the incandescent daughter, or Luna, the eldest daughter, whose gentle, luminous embrace guides those in the darkest times, helping them weather the night till the Dawnfather rises and shines on them once more. She is the first daughter of the Dawnfather, and has been tasked with sharing his light. Her powers wax and wane, but she sees to her father's stead with her sisters, Aurora. Aurora. Aure.
Yeah, I was going to leave that one alone.
L-E. I can't remember how you say that.
Aurora? Or what was it? Sorry, I couldn't hear. Oralis? Oralis?
Orala.
Like you.
Oriole.
Oriole.
Like an enshrining.
Like the bird?
No, as in Aureole. You know those in some depictions of religious iconography or otherwise has that
oral?
Yeah, oral.
Rona? Halo?
An Oriole. Okay.
An Oriole.
Okay.
That's how you... if you want to type it in, you can look it up. It is a circle of light and brightness surrounding something.
Okay.
Especially depicted on the head of a body of a person representing it as a holy body.
Sure.
The reason why
how do you spell it?
Aureole.
Oriole. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
So she is known as the second sibling, the second daughter. The reason why she is called that is the second sister, who is shy and protected by the eldest, whose accented copper light accents her sister when she is less bright. She is the second moon that tends to hide in its travels behind the first moon, the oldest daughter. Hence the iconography being one moon hidden behind the other. The third daughter is known as Glint, the youngest, her small red gleam streaking across the night sky as she runs to and fro from her sisters.
Really
I like Glint.
Were there no big Kotha? I'll tell you that.
I don't know.
So depending on
is
the
Luna basically the main moon, and the other ones are kind of a little fainter, and sometimes. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. So the main moon is Luna. This second moon is Oriole, who's behind it, which has a yellowish glow to it. And then you have Glint, who is the smaller red moon that, depending on the season and times, and they don't know why, but during certain seasons, like during the winter season, she's in front of the other two, and during the spring, she's behind the other two. So there's stories referring to her running back and forth across the sky, like the youngest daughter who runs around her sisters.
Very interesting. Very interesting, Jasper.
Jasper's a fan. I've always liked Glint. She always seemed like she was the most fun, right? Everyone else is so, they're all straight-laced and dour, that sort of thing. But Glint is like out there just kind of enjoying herself. So, I don't know. I always like
I like the way
Glint.
twice a year they look like a giant boob in the sky.
We all like that, Hargus.
I imagine that actually makes sense that
are nearby just go.
That actually makes sense that Jasper would about that, because you've probably been studying the moon a little bit lately based on the last adventure.
Yep.
So that worked out kind of cool, actually.
Most recently, for the last
So the daughter's task
that shrine
is associated with the Dawnfather, because they're who overwatches the night and reflect the Dawnfather's light. Is the understanding.
That's cool.
So,
yeah.
that's her.
So
task.
I walk into. Oh, go ahead.
Oh yeah, so you walk. That's one of the shrines you see. The other one is you do see a Treefather one next to the Elven Embassy. Those are the two that you see in the Quartz Quarter. Yours is a temple that's actually located next to the giant monument that's on the other side from the town hall.
I walk into the Dawnfather temple.
Okay. It's brilliant. It's bright. They've definitely made use of a lot of the more white flowers and coloration here. There is a white flowing stream that goes through the middle of the temple and comes into a pool and then goes out of it like a V shape. So you come in through the south, and it has like this V shape that leads out of it, and there's a pool here. That seems to be a warm bathing pool. You see people stick their feet in it and just kind of sit there for like you've seen them, those bath places where people can just stick their feet in. They're not very deep. That kind of thing as they pray and show piety. So it's a very beautiful, well done temple. It's one of the more elaborate ones you've seen, probably because of the nature of Jordsgarden.
I look around for a clergyman of some kind.
Yes, you do find one. There's an older dwarf gentleman, has a white beard, looks up at you. What could I do for you, my child? What light blessing shall come across your way?
Blessings, Father. I have received grievous injuries on my eyes, and I can no longer see as well. I've also received some burns that have torched away my hair. Not as important, but I seek healing of at least my eyesight, if that be the Dawnfather's will.
I believe we have the means by which we can do that. We do need to acquire the materials, and there is the cost of the charge. If you're fine with that, we could assist you with those needs. Is that all right?
Prepared to make a donation of whatever's necessary.
Let me see here. Crap, I closed it.
I'm imagining the dwarf at a computer now, looking at a computer.
He's got a little pocket,
figure out,
little pocket abacus.
Let me see.
So I would need some diamond dust, at least 100.
100.
However, you can just mine that from the nearby garden. That's something that's relatively plentiful around here, as long as you're willing to brave the dangers. There are families in the area.
For sale?
Well, the Firebeards have access to all that kind of material good. They could front that for you very easily. They tend to manage a lot of the mining that's happened in this town.
Okay.
Sorry.
Long story short, if you need temple services, the Firebeards would completely cover that cost for you, basically, and it builds up over time. So you could get the temple to perform greater restoration for you for basically free once a month.
Interesting.
Point Firebeard.
Or potentially more. They also have access to the regeneration spell if you lost a limb. Specifically at this time.
Okay.
And it was
all right.
100
Well,
gold worth of diamond dust is what we would need for that to happen, Father.
I need at least that much, and then.
Yeah. So his legs need healing as well.
Yeah.
And if you wouldn't mind as well, I don't know if it's as serious, but my human friend over there has received some.
I would need additional money for the cost for the person that would be performing the service. So.
What would that run us? Sorry for talking numbers like this. We're pretty strapped for cash these days, so we just need to figure out if this is. I'm hobbling around.
I do apologize that it seems that we're taking advantage. We try not to.
We understand.
The skills and gifts do need to, support the one that has taken the time to learn it.
Yeah. No, we get it.
But it would probably cost you about 150 to 200 gold for them to perform this service on you for one use.
Right.
Most of that comes from the material cost, but the other is just them taking the time out to prepare the scrolls and otherwise so that we can use them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I see. All right. Well, we don't have that kind of money, so thank you anyway. But we won't be needing your services, I guess.
And sorry, just trying to make sure I understand. Was it 100 gold worth of diamond dust and then 50 gold for the charge? So it would be 150 total.
50 to 100 gold, if I remember right. Sorry, my Acabus is broken. I'd have to calculate it for you again later. I do know it takes 100 gold worth for the spells.
And then 50 to 100 gold.
It sounds like it's... No, I said 200, so I think it's 300 total.
200 total.
200 total.
Is what I think. I honestly had to go pull up my sheet again. I can't remember where the spell slot thing was. I have to go look it up.
Are you aware? Is it going to be 200 per leg, or do you think because they're both pretty messed up? Is it going to cost me 200 per leg, or can we kind of?
No, I think he would be able to take care of both of those at the same time.
Oh, good. That's good. Good.
Now, if you are missing both your legs or just one leg, that would be a different.
All right.
Maybe. I don't know. I don't perform the service myself. I do have some powerful capabilities, but not my area of expertise.
Gotcha.
All right. Well, thank you for your time anyway, Father. Bless you. And I'll leave.
Here, take this with you. And he scoops some of the water out and pockets it to you. He gives you each a bottle of holy water.
Oh, I appreciate that. Thank you, Father.
Okay, if we sell the holy water for 25 gold pieces each.
I am not above it. Of course, if they're passing it out to everyone who comes in, maybe it's got no street market value.
I leave the
strangely enough,
I leave the temple.
This water is warm to the touch the entire time you hold it. So the bottle itself is warm always.
I leave the temple of the Dawnfather and go to the temple of the Treefather.
Good call, Dakren.
And I look for a priest or druid.
You get this same run-of-the-mill thing. It seems it doesn't matter which one you go to. However, one difference is, instead of regeneration here, they could bring somebody back to life, but they can't promise that they'll be in the same form they were before.
That's fun. That's fun. It's sort of like a...
To the second, I resign myself to having bad eyesight. But luckily I have the shield, so...
Yeah. As we go in and Dakren's talking with the cleric there, Jasper will just go over and plant a seed into the kind of commune area, and just kind of plant a seed, say a little prayer, hold his little prayer book that he got from his parents, and yeah.
After you visit these two places, and while Jasper is doing this, Dakren, you hear, you see like a little crow land on your shoulder. You can't look at it.
Argus.
A crow.
As you swat it away, it lands on your other shoulder, and you're like, "What are you doing?" And you notice
off me, you beast.
Its eye is red, and it goes, "No, seems like you're in a bit of a pickle." Its mouth isn't moving, but you hear this, Austin or Dakren.
Okay, it doesn't have to be a crow if you don't want it to be. I always just hear the voice in my head, but if you want it to be a crow, that's fine too.
That's fine.
I just thought that was
I've got the holy bone.
I know. The thing is, you're the only one that sees this crow. They don't.
Okay,
What?
so I'm like, I will just bring one-eyed. As soon as I hear that voice, I'm like, I'm sorry, guys. I need to. I'll be right back. And I kind of
Dakren
go.
does this weird thing for a little bit, and then he goes, "Sorry, guys, I need to go for a moment."
Yeah. I'm sorry. I just need some shade. Sun is hurting my burns, so I'll be right back. So I go under the shade of a gem tree, and I'm like, I wondered when I'd be hearing from you, Wretch. It's been quite a while.
It coalesced into like this sphere and then pops out, and you see this tiny imp-looking creature with a tuxedo, with a pipe, and kind of nasty-looking features. Like, there's imps, but then if you could imagine an imp being ugly by imp standards, then that's what would be in this tux. Kind of gnarled teeth, yellowed, smoking this kind of longer pipe, and he goes, "So, I'm here to say hello to you again. It's been a while since we've last talked." And flicks out the ash, and it starts to burn a little bit onto the ground. Nobody else seems to notice this.
Wait, who are you? Are you a messenger from the Wretch, or are you the Wretch himself? I've never seen you in this form before.
Who I am doesn't matter. Let's just say that the Wretch has an interest in you, and has noticed that you haven't been keeping your deal properly. Now,
yes, I have. He hasn't.
Part of that is because he hasn't offered you enough. But how about we sweeten the deal a little bit? Seems that you've come across a bit more of unsavory burns. We offered to help you out before, but maybe you'd be more willing this time now that alternatives aren't there. You know it's in our power. We could fix it for you. Just need to do a little service as a part of the contract. You know the drill.
If I have a choice, then you know what I'm going to say about this.
Well, maybe eventually you'll come around to us type of thinking. Well, if you change your mind or find it that it's too inhibiting being a gimp, then maybe you should look into it more. Oh, wait, you can't.
Well...
And he puffs out smoke
well,
at that point.
Wait, come back. Come back. Hello? Hello, come back. I might be making a deal. Don't you want me to make the deal and do your service? Come back.
As you feel a little weight on your shoulder as he's sitting there. I knew you'd come around.
Oh, is
well, not so fast. Just tell me what the task is first, and we'll see what we can do.
Nothing much. Let's just say there's a certain dragon that I want you to hold a party for.
Hold a party for? What? How is that? How does that make your purposes any? How does that further your purposes? I don't understand.
Oh, nonsense. You host a party for him, cause him to be embarrassment and ruin his life, and then we move on, and I'm happy.
Yeah, no, I'm not doing that. And I just flick him away. I stand back up and I come back.
You'll regret it when you don't know your right from your left. This isn't over. You know the deal.
My deal is you can tell me to do something, or you can trade something, and you know what I'm always gonna trade? Nothing. Oh, hey, guys. Sorry, just needed to
yelling out at the.
Yeah, I'm feeling better.
Jasper
feeling
comes
better.
out
Sorry,
of the
I
temple,
just needed to rest.
Comes out of the temple, dusting the dirt off his knees. What are you yelling about? I know.
Sorry, there's this weird kid who was making fun of me, and it was. Oh. I'm sorry, it's just I lost my temper, and it's been a long day. So anyway, it doesn't look like we're gonna be cured anytime soon. So I guess we're gonna.
Well, unless apparently.
I guess just go to the town center.
Unless apparently we go with the Firebeards, who can apparently front all of those costs up front.
Yeah, we might need to do that. I'm fine with that. And I mean, they did have benefits, right? Like we were talking about some of the benefits with the Firebeards and like research. I know you guys have researched quite a bit. They could help with that. And nobility contacts, that'd be useful too. So sure, let's change completely to the Firebeards. Works for me.
On a whim. Oh boy!
We can always change. So
that's true.
I'm gonna love that. By the time we finish this, you have swapped like 7 times. Firebeards, no Stoneborns, no Firebeards, no Stoneborns. Up the antes.
Unless you think the Stoneborns are going to front us so much cash up front, or going to front us like so much on the big job that we'll be able to do this quickly.
That's because they are the treasure one, huh? Right. So that could be the same. So why did that priest say that the Firebeards had access to that? Because I thought Stoneborns had all the gold. Could they just buy?
Stoneborns have gold from a lot of things being an older dwarven race. However, the ones that run the mining around here and have access to all the gems and goods that way are the Firebeards.
It's like a trade option, because they mine
they
have easier access to it.
For free for those kind of services, and they also have connections with them. Whereas the other ones are just like, well, here's the money, just pay them for what we need.
Mm-hmm. So I guess.
All right.
It'd be
fine with me.
Yeah, I mean, if they're given.
Free, I'm not one for
free healing.
I'm not one for much pondering and deliberation. Let's just go to the Firebeards. Everybody, all in favor?
I think we do it. I think that's all right. We'll commit to it. Firebeards, it is.
All right.
Yes.
Okay. So,
Firebraves, move out.
All right. What thieves? What did you say?
Firebraves.
I said Firebraves, move out.
It's really funny that all of us just use a different name for our party, depending on who we introduce ourselves to. And then there's like
introduces us, we'll just say who they are.
There's 4 famous parties in the
world. We're not the Disco Boys,
okay?
We're not the Disco Boys.
The Firebraves.
Just gonna have to put ourselves in the
cricket eaters are better. The Cricketeers.
Yeah, we're just going to put ourselves in the
take them on in a fight.
In the Allies registry as
4 different
Cricketeers, aka Flame Braves, aka, and it's just like all these aliases.
Just
Brand boys.
Just so I'm clear.
Brandy boys.
The Brave Flamers, that's off the table, right? Is that what I'm hearing? Because I haven't heard that one come up again.
Yes, Fire Braves. or
What about
nothing
skinwalkers?
related to that?
Ooh, we have
That sounds really creepy.
it's like we got to start walking around in meat suits or something like that.
Oh,
Ugh, not gonna do that.
only of our enemies. Only of our enemies.
Skinwalkers.
You know
All
I
right,
love
then,
souvenirs.
the town hall.
Town hall it is. We'll go see if we can meet up with the judge, right?
Yep.
And maybe Seere is there.
So we go to the town hall and look for Seere
Seere at the town hall.
and Grimbeard.
All right, here we are.
All right. So coming to the town hall, it's elaborate as everywhere else. You're starting to get used to the way that things look here, with it being plant life and sculptures, kind of this. It's starting to not get old, but you're starting to get used to the fact that, oh, everything's pretty and stuff that way, and kind of the same overall design. It doesn't feel really innovative in how it does it, because it's just always there. Kind of like a less is more situation. But the town hall has fountains and waterworks on the inside that kind of combines the coloration of the different pools that come from the different directions. So it'll shoot little red streams or white streams, and you're like, well, I wonder how they're doing that. And then you notice that there seems to be two mages doing control water off to the side, making this fountain go.
Oh, jeez. They've just got guys constantly.
What a full-time job that would be.
Yeah.
Maybe they're just doing a show right now, and we're like catching the tail end of it or something. I don't know.
Sure.
But they seem to be doing some elaborate things of having like this little tiny red fish being chased around by this big blue like shark creature for a while, and then they do some other things. After a while, it ends and they leave, and you're like, oh, that was kind of calm. At the same time that they leave, bell ringing, signifying that it's later in the day, or it's getting towards dusk.
I just rung 5 bells, so, keep that in mind.
Yeah.
Okay.
With that, you start looking around, and eventually you do see Seere. I always mess up. Seere. I told you, Seere ruined me.
I thought it was Seere.
It's like the word seer with an at the end.
Seere.
S-E-R and an E.
Yeah. Seere. And sitting there, and she's conversing with this older dwarf gentleman who has strands of golden hair through his beard and through his mane of hair. And you imagine that at one point it used to be all gold, but he's so old now that it's mostly white with strands of gold in it. And he's well dressed and otherwise. And you see not just Seere there, but you see others as well, seeming to be conversing with him and holding their turn and otherwise. And you see that there's other groups of adventurers nearby. And he kind of puts up his hands and he goes, right. Don't worry now. We have something arranged for whoever gains their favor. Once the favor is gained and the representatives are chosen, then we'll go on with the rest of it. All of your attempts at trying to persuade me to choose one of you is going to be falling on deaf ears. However, if you can get yourself known enough or somebody to vouch for you, I'm sure one of the families will look to seeing to use in your guild. They tend to talk through connections that way, as is the nature of this event and trial between the two families vying for this position of ambassadorship. So it makes sense that it goes both ways. Please keep that in mind and do not cause trouble. Otherwise, I will have to have you taken out of the city and removed from becoming a public menace. So please watch yourselves while you're here. Now then, if you excuse me, I will be awaiting word from either of the families having chosen their representatives. May you all have best of luck with this. Take care. And he starts to wander off just slowly. Seere kind of sighs, shrugs her shoulders, and walks off. There's a couple others that are kind of arguing, going to various parties around, and she sees you guys and comes over. So there was this false rumor going around that you have to go and talk to him and get him to approve of your family, or your adventures, which is true, but it's after you've already been selected. So we need to go and do some work and see if we can get somebody to represent us. On the bright side,
let's go get the Vist.
On the bright side, we know two people that I would recommend talking to, and we should probably work our way into their favor for both of them. There are some others around the town that might be useful to get in favor as well. Other nobles that tend to reside here. But if we had to start off, I think the best people to try and get us in with one of the families is talking to Funwella, the Stoneborn at the Thunderforge, and see if we can do something for her to get her to vouch for us, or Harmon Firebeard, who was the captain from the boat the barge that we were on. If we do something for them, they would probably be willing to vouch for us or help support whichever side we go for, which will give us advantage in both fronts. So I think that they're the primary targets at the moment. So,
all right.
Sounds good. Let's go to Captain Firebeard then.
Yeah,
personally, I think it's to get both of them if we can.
Sure. Captain Firebeard's already a fan of ours, so start with him.
Yeah.
Maybe just get the ball rolling with him and go from there.
Right. That sounds like a good place of plan. I'll look up some of the other nobles in the area and see what who else we might be able to get to join us. I know we won't have enough time to get everybody, as we're supposed to decide this in a few days. But that should work with your guys' timeline. I looked into a little bit of Branbrek's case, but it looks like his trial's being held after this, as the overseer is apparently in charge of that as well. He's one of the high judges. So it seems that that's on his plate as well.
Interesting.
So convenient for us and that, but we'll look into this. But for the moment, those are the two nobles from the neutral factions that I would recommend looking into. After that, I'll see who I can find on either side, or if we decide on going with one, and go from there.
Sounds good.
So with that, you can go and talk to Harmon, or you could go and talk to Funwella, Stoneborn, who's at the Thunderforge Inn. Harmon, you already know, he's been staying at the Diamond
Hammer.
That place. Diamond Hammer. And he is an option as well. Try to gain their favor and have them represent or put a word in for you for the respective families of either the Stoneborn or the Firebeards. So up to you which one you guys want to choose on. But we'll let you guys figure that out. You're going to do Harmon?
I think Harmon first.
Yep.
I mean, hopefully he'll be quick and we can finish up there, and then maybe we can get over to the Thunderhammer for an evening of music and seeing what they got to go over there. Sounds like an interesting place. So.
Yeah, maybe Hargis could try out his luck and
chat up fun
barring.
Okay.
So, but yeah,
you guys eventually make it back to the Diamond Hammer. Then the inn that's one of the richest inns here. Luckily, they don't seem to question you visiting again. Seemingly have gotten used to your appearance, at least the staff has. And you're eventually brought back to your room where they say Harmon will visit you. And Harmon comes eventually over and brings a couple bottles of fine wine with him, puts them down on the table. He's like, so, what can I do for you? I understand that you needed to talk to me.
Well, first of all, we could really use your house's help in fixing our injuries that we got the other day at, defending your barge. We were told that the Firebeards have some connections with diamond dust and other things that the clerics would need to heal. But did you mention that you had a connect? You mentioned earlier is you had said somebody could fix that for me later today. Wasn't sure it meant like a cleric if we had gold, but anyway.
Yeah,
we're anxious to get the favor of your house.
Isn't everybody? I should have expected this, that you guys being adventurers headed out here during this time.
Yes.
Well, I was hoping to hire you guys on again to deal with my barge problem. I told you before that I lost some able-bodied men and stuff that way. He sips back. Thinking about it, I heard of some champion that had recently retired here from the Colosseums that's been enjoying his life here, but he's been growing bored and rusty. Might be interested in maybe some work as a protector, especially with the more recent event that we had. I believe his name's Lance Godfrey. He's a human who resides in the Mountain Shadow Inn down here in one of the districts. Maybe you could go and convince him to come work for me, and I'll consider that a favor done. If you want to do that for me, then I'm sure that I could vouch for you, especially whereas he's a famous mercenary. If he comes work for me for my barge, that increases our profits, as people have known him in the Colosseums for some time. My family wouldn't be able to complain about me more than they already have, and then grabbing his renown underneath that banner, that would probably work out well. Plus, I imagine that I could suit his needs for a leisurely life with a bit of rough and gruff from time to time. But do that for me. If you can get him to join my crew, I'll consider that as something I would need. Sound like a deal?
That sounds like a good plan.
Sounds like a deal.
What are you offering him for a starting salary?
Yeah, what do we need to know to
I'll discuss that with
him?
Well, I mean...
Well,
he's gonna
what if
ask,
he...
right?
Yeah, what if he... Yeah.
You guys don't know Lance. He's a thrill seeker, but he's been retired for some time. He stopped at the Colosseum.
So this opportunity might be...
Yes.
Okay, so the opportunity itself might be attractive enough.
He's more interested in thrill than he would be something else. So my offer of him being a permanent stay on my ship, especially where I'm normally only allowed dwarven guards, would be relatively mutually beneficial. I think it's something that would interest him, and I'd go see him myself, but I have other endeavors to take care of before that.
We can certainly talk up the thrilling life of Duergar battles and fireworms and all sorts of other things that he might get to battle on the back and forth. So if he...
my sounds easy enough.
He stopped the Colosseum life because they weren't finding him anything new or exciting about it, and his matches became boring to watch. Because he just couldn't put his heart and soul into it. He didn't have trouble winning, but that was the problem. He didn't have any trouble with whatever they brought him. So he got
this should be easy.
Came here to be an adventurer, and instead decided to relax and spend his wealth that way. But here recently, he's been restless. You'll probably find him drunk there, probably dreaming of a good fight or some life that way. But if you could convince him, I'd appreciate it, and I definitely consider that a favor. Once again, I'd probably go do it myself, but as you're seen as needing a favor of mine, do this for me. Frees up my time.
That's a fair.
Very well.
Fair enough.
All right.
Right. Well, when you come back, let's have some good drinks. Maybe Lance can join us as well. And he leaves the bottle there finishes off the last of his little shot, puts it down, and walks out and kind of stumbles into the doorway and keeps going. You now realize he's probably too drunk to go talk to somebody.
That's good stuff.
We don't know what his natural
I think I
state
know
is.
his endeavors were.
Hey, man.
And then you hear some girls giggling.
I was going to say, man's on shore for so long.
Yeah, shore leave.
Shore leave. Yeah.
All right.
He seemed very on task with Newt before, but now that he's having his free time.
I wonder what Newt's up to.
Yeah, I didn't see him help out very much when those Duergar attacked. I don't know really what he was. I don't know.
Well, he could have been off battling.
Maybe we'll see him again.
Those other worms and stuff. I don't know.
That's true. Maybe there was.
Are you referring to Newt
we
or
don't even know about.
Captain?
Newt.
Newt.
Yeah. Well, let's. Do we know where this inn he mentioned is? Is it too far out?
I don't know. I guess you'll just
Inn.
ask around.
No.
Mountain Shadow.
Mountain Shadow. Yeah. Let's head over, and I guess we can ask where the thunder is as well. The thunder hammer. Just I guess if we pass it, we can pop in there on the way or something. I guess it depends on best way to get to either one.
Oh, the Thunder Forge.
Yeah, if we pass it on the way, sort of a thing. If all the inns are
Sure, yeah.
or something.
It caters to a lot of the adventurer's life and stuff that way. It's a part of Fonwella's personal preferences style. She likes catering to high-end but commoner styled high-end, you could say. Yeah, you'll want to go over to the Emerald District to find the Mountain Shadow. It's called as such because it's in the Mountain Shadow, hence the cave. It's always on the side of the shadow. But it's that.
All right.
So it's there. So going to the Mountain Shadow first, then?
Yep.
Okay. With that, you guys end up going to... you've seen brighter colors like ruby, emerald, and stuff that way, but this portion or this district tends to be more like on the darker spectrum of the jewels. More of a, I can't think of a jewel type at the moment. There we go. Like a black opal or benonite. Type of colors, dark purples, dark blues, stuff that way. And it's interesting too because you go from these torch lights that are kind of causing these green speckling or different colorations as the Emerald District, and then you get into this area where it's like you're in a black light. And there's definitely more nobles kind of having fun or doing things here.
Jasper looks over at Argus's clothes in the black light.
What?
Strangely clean. Strangely completely white. You guys get to this district, and you eventually get into the Mountain Shadows. It's kind of a hideaway. It's kind of low key, and it looks like it's got a pit for fighting in it. And you kind of look around, and there's several people just like enjoying themselves. This looks like where the nobles kind of, or just dwarves in general, or anybody, tries to pretend and let loose and kind of forget their status. Much more around.
Go slum in the Mountain Shadow.
Yeah, this is more of it's like the glamping of bars for nobility. So it's trying to give that like rough and tumble aspect of life, but it's very refined 5-star restaurant style, where it's like, yeah, we have a bar fight. Get on your tux and put up your fists, kind of a thing. Gentlemen's fight.
They use an ice pick on big blocks of ice there and put it into glasses that way.
Yeah. So it's very high end for a slum spec. And you're kind of looking around, and it doesn't take you long to get pointed in the direction of this large human male who seems to be just like arms on the table, head slipped down kind of into his arms, and basically taking up the entire end bar of the bar, just taking up the entire end of it. He seems out of place, mainly because you realize the stool he's on is not matching the rest of the stools. It's the same design, but it's definitely meant for a human. So he seems to have enough respect there to have his own place, his own special spot. And the pit has a good view from where he's at and things that way. But as you guys call out to him, a lance... And as he kind of perks up, turns over toward you, he has scars, but they look artistic in nature. Mm-hmm. Like, maybe he's healed the ones that didn't look good.
Doing restoration on specific scars to keep it classy.
Yeah. Yeah. He has artistically chiseled features with scarring that seems almost intentional in design.
Yeah.
So kept scars that were meaningful, removed scars that he thought either didn't look good or otherwise. Turns towards you, kind of shoulder up. He says, "What can I do for you?" And that's what we'll pick up.
Sorry, guys.
Oh, Lance. So
interesting. That's so
it's
weird.
okay, Hargus. So. It's okay.
No, I apologize. We went a little long. I was thinking about India earlier, but we got to that.
Yeah, you're doing great. You're looking great.
Yeah, good place to stop.
Yeah.